Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Excuse me. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates today. We're coming to you live from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody who has joined us here on the Emergency Management Associates program today. Guys, there are a lot of things we need to talk about. I'm going to get started in just a second. As soon as I can ascertain that we have some people here in the chat, because I don't want to repeat myself, and I also want to make sure I get the information out to all of those who are going to be watching this program today. We have a few people here in the chat already. That's great. We have Demon Catman from the east of England. Thank you very much, DMC. Appreciate it. Marianne Duver-Knotts is here. Aubrey's here. Thank you so much, guys. We appreciate it. I'm going to wait just for another couple minutes to make sure we get a bunch of other people here. I want to make sure I don't, like I said, repeat myself over and over again. I don't want to do that. But I want to ascertain that we have people here. As to that, yesterday we had nearly 2,800 people that saw this program. 2,800 people saw this program as of this morning. Surgeries from northern Utah, Layton, Utah. Jay Hart is here. Chris Donaldson's here. Not Chris Donaldson from ABC News, but Chris Donaldson anyway. That's awesome. Juanito from Southern California, El Centro, Imperial County, California is here. Juanito, we're going to be talking about earthquakes in your area in just a few minutes. Appreciate you here. Guys, we love each and every one of you. Now, what do I have to say today? I'm going to tell you this right now. What we have to say today is very important, okay? First off, I want to talk about the possible war with Russia. Yes, the possible war with Russia. President Trump, weeks ago, warned Putin to end the war between Ukraine and Russia. Putin PO'd on that, okay? He didn't want to do that. He's still been attacking Ukraine, and Ukraine has been attacking Russia. And in fact, both of them have been making inroads on the other country. However, President Trump wants it ended. Why? Because people are dying. Thousands upon thousands of people are dying every week. Trump wants to put a stop to it. Trump has already ended 3 wars. Trump is playing the ultimate game with Russia. Okay, before just about 60 days ago, he said 50 days to end the war. As of this past Friday, he gave Putin an ultimatum. End this war within 10 days, or the United States will start putting financial sanctions on your country. The United States is going to put financial sanctions on Russia. Why? Because putting financial sanctions on Russia would dry up Russia's influence over oil and gas. Okay? People from Europe are buying oil and gas from Russia. If Trump puts on sanctions on Russia, all that ends. Okay? Russia is not Israel or even Iran. We can't do what we did with Iran or Israel before. That's not going to work. Each ultimatum that President Trump has been given is a threat. And that's what Russia sees it as. Both Putin and Dmitry Medvedev. Dmitry Medvedev is the defense secretary for Russia. Okay? But Putin and Medvedev have said that Trump's sanctions are a threat towards Russia and a step towards war. Not between Russia and Ukraine, but with his own country. Don't go down the Sleepy Joe road. President Trump has already told Putin, don't go down the Sleepy Joe road. We are not Biden. We are a strong United States, and we stand by what we're doing. Now, with that said, guess what Russia did yesterday? Can you guess what Russia did yesterday? They basically have declared war with the West. They basically declared war against the West. Trump says we already have commitments from Netherlands, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and most of the rest of Europe. Over $1 billion for American weapons that Ukraine will receive. Thank you. This cooperation with NATO countries will continue. Okay? So Trump has up-aced Russia with that. NATO has been wanting to buy weapons from the United States to help support Ukraine. Russia doesn't like that. Russia wants to bring Belarus, Ukraine, Poland, and the other Eastern Bloc nations back into Russia. Russia wants to take them back before he dies. Putin doesn't like that at all. Putin wants to bring every other Eastern Bloc country back into Russia. The United States is trying to save the other countries that do not want to be brought back into Russia. Now, Russia's one-upped us again. Yesterday afternoon, Russia sent 4 Bear bombers. 4 Bear bombers into the air, headed for Eastern Europe and over into England. 4 Bear bombers with fighter jets. 4 fighter jets apiece for each of the 4 Bear bombers. Those Bear bombers are outfitted with live nuclear warheads. Those 4 Bear bombers are outfitted with live nuclear warheads. Okay? Now, before Trump had issued the order for Putin to stand down and end the war and gave him 10 days, that was last Friday. Trump ordered 2 nuclear submarines over to stand off the coast of Russia. That way, if Russia tried to nuke the United States or England, the United States would order bombs over Russia, nuclear warheads. If Russia throws the first nukes, we're going to launch nukes immediately. Okay? Russia doesn't see it that way. So Russia launched the Bear bombers as a threat to the United States, England, and the United Kingdom. So now it's a nuclear standoff, basically. That's what we have to go on. Now, why should we be concerned? We're talking nuclear war on our own shores. Russia doesn't like what we're doing, trying to end the war. Russia wants to continue bombing Ukraine, Poland, Belarus, and the other Eastern Bloc countries to bring them back under Russian control. Belarus is a separate country. Okay? Ukraine is a separate country. But Belarus is governed by a madman, much like Putin. Belarus president, I don't remember his name right now, but he's basically just like Putin. He's been taking orders from Putin for some time. Okay? So Putin already has Belarus in his back pocket. But Putin wants to take all the other countries back, regardless of what else happens. So now Putin has upped the ante, putting 4 Bear bombers and 16 fighter planes in the air with nuclear weapons. Unreal. So now it remains with basically 5 more days. 5 more days to see if the United States will impose financial sanctions on Russia. And what will Russia do? Russia is threatened to attack Europe and the United States. Okay? We've already told you to be prepared. To be prepared for whatever happens. Okay? None of us want nuclear war. None of us have even thought of nuclear war, but Putin doesn't care. Apparently, President Putin doesn't care, but I do. I'm asking each one of you to prepare for possible war, for possibly a nuclear fallout. Okay? We've talked about emergency preparedness before. We've talked about writing an emergency preparedness plan, and I mean it. I mean it now more than ever. Okay? Please write an emergency preparedness plan immediately. Okay, I'm not trying to scare you by telling you this. These are facts. These are facts that are happening right now. Okay? J. Hart, yes, there are fires in Canada, and the fires are spreading. There are fires in Eastern Canada. There are fires in Western Canada. The Western Canada fires have been putting up smoke all throughout Southern Canada and down into the northern tier of states in the United States. Air quality is very poor. Okay? Now, if this wasn't enough, I want to tell you something else that happened at 11 o'clock this morning. Just after 11 a.m. this morning, there were shots fired at Fort Stewart. Fort Stewart, the largest Army base west of the Mississippi. 5 soldiers were shot in an active duty shooter incident in the 2nd Armored Brigade Combat Team, the ABCT, the 2nd Armored Brigade Combat Team. All soldiers were injured and treated on site and then moved to a Wynn Army Community Hospital for further treatment. Right now, the active shooter has been apprehended. There is no active threat in the community. Law enforcement, meaning Army police, civilian Army police, and other federal police and agents outside the base were activated. Law enforcement was dispatched for a possible shooting at 10:56 a.m. this morning. The shooter was apprehended at 11:35, 39 minutes later. I want to play a short video for you from Fox News Now. Please pay attention. This is actually breaking information.
We are continuing to follow a breaking news situation out of Georgia, specifically at Fort Stewart in Georgia right here. I did want to share this with you as Fox News says that 5 soldiers have been shot at Fort Stewart in Georgia. They say the shooter has been apprehended. So the very latest details, as I did want to share a little bit more with you. This is a look at the map right there where Fort Stewart is. And if you're familiar with this area, we do want to let you know that this is southwest of Savannah. This is the largest Army post east of the Mississippi. So the very latest information is this. Around 11 this morning, a little after 11 a.m. local time, a lockdown was put into place at Georgia's Fort Stewart after what officials are calling an active shooter incident. They said that they had issued a lockdown for the base and the Wright and Evans Army Airfield. They said at the time, lock down your facility immediately, stay inside, close and lock all windows and doors, keep telephone lines open, and report accountability to your leadership. Army officials did confirm that that lockdown was put into place at 11:04 a.m. in response to an active shooter incident. Right now, they are currently assessing that situation right now. 5 people.
Nobody believed me at first, but now everybody wants a pair.
Just a second.
Shot, and according to Fox News, that suspect has been apprehended. That is the information that we know right now. In addition to that, 4 local schools, 2 elementary and a middle school, have been placed on a soft lockdown after an abundance of caution, and the entire school district is closely monitoring this as well. For more information on this, I did want to bring in Bobby McDonald, who is a former Secret Service agent, and we appreciate you taking the time to join us here on Live Now from Fox as we continue to monitor this breaking news situation.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
So, we don't have many details as of now. We do know that this is an active shooter situation at Fort Stewart in Georgia. And this is this is the largest Army post east of the Mississippi River. Knowing that, Bobby, what can you share with us in terms of the response, in terms of what is unfolding right now there on the ground?
Well, the military is very good at responding to incidents like this. Unfortunately, they've had numerous incidents in the past at various other bases, so they know how to react. They know how to lock in place. They know how to take orders when that order comes down, to keep the phone lines open, to shelter in place, to do what the practices have shown us have to do when we have an incident like this, and how to remain safe. You're absolutely right. That is one of the largest bases around. I happened to do some work there with the Secret Service a number of years ago. It's a huge location. I think the fact that we've heard that the suspect has apprehended is a very good sign, but that doesn't mean this incident is over. You're going to have the Army Criminal Investigative Division come in, do a workup with local police, state police, federal agencies are going to come in, see who this person was, what type of weapon they had. Are they a member of the military? Did they have training? Were they targeting particular people or a particular location? Were they a copycat of something that we saw in New York last week? That's one of the things that comes into play here. So a lot going on. As you said, we're only about an hour and a half or just about 2 hours away from the initial report. So a lot going on down there, but we need to make sure that that base is safe and that there are no other bad actors out there involved in this incident.
And given the fact that this is one of the largest Army posts in the United States, the layout of all of that, how does that factor in to a situation such as this, given the fact that it is so large and it has to cover a lot of ground right there?
Well, our first responders there and our investigators are basically going to start at the point where the last action took place, which is obviously where the shooter was apprehended. And then we're going to work our way backwards. A criminal investigation is a reconstruction of the past. So not only are they looking at the physicality of that Fort Stewart and making sure that everything is safe there, now we've got to start the investigation on the information surrounding the actor, the bad actor, social media, interviewing their neighbors, their friends, mental health issues, drug and alcohol issues. Have they been recently let go from their job? All sorts of things now are going to come into play to see how this person came to develop this nefarious activity today, and obviously cause, I believe it's 5, you said 5 people shot, obviously caused 5 people to be injured in this situation. Thankfully, we have not heard of any deaths as of yet.
And let's talk about that. 5 individuals shot. We don't know who these individuals are. We don't know who the suspect is at the moment. But given the fact that there are, 5 casualties right there, 5 people shot, does that give you any sort of sense of, what might have unfolded or who might have been involved given that number?
Well, I think, again, it's early on. Were those 5 people targeted? Was one person going to be targeted and 4 people got in the way before that happened? Were they all sitting in the same conference room and just happened to be in a meeting? Again, a lot of information that we really need to flush out because we are just really at the beginning of this. So you don't want to put the cart before the horse, but all of these things are going to be flushed out to see the whys, the wherefores, and the hows that this actually happened today.
And you also referred to the mass shooting in New York City, and that's always, a concern as to when something like this happens. Could there be copycat incidents? And that is something you mentioned that investigators are going to be taking a look at. What's the line of questioning? What's the line of investigation when you do look into, a mass shooting such as this, and then you have to factor that out? What comes into play?
Well, the first thing we're going to hope is that a bad actor here is going to want to talk to police and tell us what's going on in their mind, in their world, in their home, in their job. What's going on? What brought them to this situation today to want to inflict harm at Fort Stewart? Are they mad at the military? Were they dishonorably discharged? What potentially allowed them to get involved in this? And or did anything that happened in New York lead them to this type of activity at Fort Stewart today. A lot of times people get the impetus to do something after seeing it done somewhere else. So did the person do any advance work, figure out what gate to go in? What was the least monitored gate? What was the gate closest to where they potentially wanted to do harm? So did they do any advanced planning work there to see how that was going to happen? So again, we are really, really early on in this, and we're going to need a couple of hours and maybe a couple of days to figure out what actually happened here, and more importantly, why it happened, and even more importantly, how to not allow this to happen down the road.
Okay, that's the biggest question right there. How do we make sure this doesn't happen again? How did it happen, and how do we make sure it doesn't happen again? Okay. Now, when I was a federal police officer in San Diego on a Sunday afternoon, approximately 4 p.m. in the afternoon, we had a suspect that got on board Naval Station San Diego, 32nd Street, and he had a gun. He brandished a gun just outside the commanding officer's office. Just outside the commanding officer's office. And on a Sunday, the commanding officer and his staff are nowhere to be seen. They're off. They're off. They left the building on Friday afternoon, and they hadn't returned until Monday. This was Sunday afternoon. And now we have a possible active shooter just outside the commanding officer's office on 32nd Street Naval Station. Okay? Right there by the commanding officer's office, there is Pier 1. Okay? I shouldn't say Pier 1, Pier 5, which is the largest and longest pier on the naval station. On that pier were two large naval ships that were having visitors. So that area of parking along the quay wall of that pier were cars and cars and cars, lots of people, lots of families. Okay? Now we have a possible active shooter. No, he didn't get a shot off. One of my partners that I worked with saw the man first. He put out the call that we have a man with a gun right off the pier, right next to the commanding officer's office. Okay? One other officer arrived, then I arrived, and 2 or 3 officers after that arrived. We held the guy in the middle of the street. He didn't get a chance to go closer to the CO's office, where he could possibly go in there and raise havoc in that office, breaking in and entering there. He didn't do it. He could have gotten over towards the pier where hundreds of people were trying to get on ships that were visiting there. Okay? Didn't even get a chance. We held him at gunpoint. We held him at gunpoint for about 10 or 15 minutes before we finally got him down on the ground. We didn't fire a shot, and he didn't fire a shot. But the first thing we want to know once we took him into custody is how he got on board the base. Okay? At that time, we only had 2 gates on the naval station that were open to people to come on. Only 2 gates. Only one gate of the naval station, the main gate of the naval station, was open near where he was. We thought he may have come in through the gate. He hadn't. What did he do? At that point in time, there was chain link fence 7 feet high with razor wire and barbed wire across the top of that fence for another 10 or 12 inches. Actually, I think it was even higher than that, probably closer to 16 inches of razor wire and barbed wire. Okay? He didn't bother going over the top of the fence where he would have got cut up. He got a bolt cutter and started cutting a hole in the fence. While we were taking him down in the middle of the street that day, on a sunny summer afternoon in San Diego County, while we were busy taking him down and taking him into custody, one of our other police agents found the hole that he cut in the fence. That's what these people do. That's what these people do that cause problems. Now, I do not have any pertinent information how that man got on board Fort Stewart, but we have to wait and find out what's happened. We have to wait and find out what's happened, how he did it, what his motives were. We don't know that yet. In the coming hours and days, we're going to find more and more information out. But right now, the Army Investigative Service, the OIC, is on board in this. We have the FBI, we have the CIA, we have the National Security Agency, and probably other law enforcement agencies that are working on this. It's not just one or two investigative agencies. We have probably 5 or 6 very strong, very thorough investigative agents on the scene looking at what happened today. Yes, 5 Army people, 5 Army soldiers were shot. Fortunately, I believe we have not heard any more information, and I don't believe we have had any fatalities as of yet. I hope that doesn't happen. Okay? Sergey says he bet the man's a soldier. That base also has a nug carrying instructions for people. Yes, he might be carrying a nug. He might have had authorization to carry a weapon. We don't know. We don't know. Marion Doer-Knott says we need Trump walls for these bases. We already have Trump walls for these bases. Okay? No longer do we have chain link fence around the bases. That ended back in the mid-90s. Now they not only have chain link fences inside the base, but on the other side, on the public side of the chain link fences, they have great big 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch steel bars going about 10 feet into the air, and the top of those 10 feet fences, we have spikes. Spikes. Okay? Not only do we have spikes at the top of the fence, but on the outside top of the fence, we have razor wire. So people will think twice about scaling the fence and trying to come over it. Yes, before they put razor wire on top of these military fences, they had people that got stuck on the pinnacle of the fence. Yes, they got penetrated by those great big huge spikes on top of the fence. How anyone could have thought that they could get past those spikes is beyond me. There was only 4 inches between each piece of steel. 4 inches between each piece of steel. Okay? And then there were spikes at the top of the fence. People got penetrated because they tried to go over the fence. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Now there's razor wire and also barbed wire at the top of that fence. Okay? Not going to happen. Not going to do it. Do we have any more questions about what happened at Fort Stewart or what is happening with Russia and the ending of the Ukraine war? Hopefully it'll end soon without any shots fired. But again, Russia has deployed 4 Bear bombers. 4 Bear bombers with nuclear active weapons on board those bombers, as well as 4 fighter aircraft that are escorting those bombers through Europe over towards England as well. They mean business. Those weapons on board those Bear bombers are activated to strike the United States as well. If they fire a weapon at Europe, they're going to fire it at the United States as well. Do we have any questions about anything like that? Yes, I have some military background because my dad was involved in the Navy. I have military CID contacts. I've been involved with military stuff most of my life. Does anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions? Lamb is the light over in Asheville, North Carolina this year. Welcome, Lamb is Light. We appreciate you and love you very much. She's only about 65, 70 miles away from me. I've never met her yet. I'm hoping to make a trip to Asheville before the snow flies this year. I would love to meet Lamb is Light. Maybe we can meet at a restaurant or something where we can meet and talk about all kinds of stuff. Does anybody have any questions about anything? Charlene is asking, was this guy AWOL, absent without leave? We don't know. We don't have any further information about the suspect at Fort Stewart. And Fort Stewart is just outside of Savannah, Georgia. Don Patoka says bears or badgers. I've heard bears. Russian bear bombers. Lemons Light, what question do you have? I'm happy to answer your questions or try to answer your questions. I'm pretty much on top of this. Whenever I see something like this, I'm on top of it. Aubrey says your report is quite thorough. I appreciate that, Aubrey. I try to be thorough. I try to put out that information we have so everybody's not threatening or wondering, or not threatening, but fretting and wondering what's going on. Charlene's asking, does the protection of the Lemonov Ridge have any bearing on the Russian subspace in the U.S.? I don't know. I don't know. Given is undisclosed resources and other nations will fight for it? Probably. Probably. We have the entire NATO nation. We have all the NATO nations involved with us. NATO has purchased these weapons, these missiles that we're sending to Ukraine for use by the forces in Ukraine. Okay? No, we don't have any forces on the ground to speak of except to train Ukrainian people. Okay? But we have sent the weapons, and Putin has threatened to take action against the United States for arming Ukraine. He didn't like us sending NATO. We didn't send NATO, but NATO came in there because Ukraine asked. Putin said he would take action against us if NATO came in. NATO is there. We have an Air Force base in Poland. The U.S. military has an Air Force base in Poland. Putin didn't like that. He threatened taking action against us because of that. He tried to attack Poland, and the United States fighter jets shot down his missiles. U.S. fighter jets shot down Putin's missiles and kept his leadership of his ground forces on the ground away out of Poland. Lamon's Light is saying, did my question come through, Ron? Let me go back here and find out here. Hold on a second. No, I don't see your question here, Lamon's Light. Renee Steffi is talking about a flash flood warning just outside of Jacksonville for Clay, Florida, and Duval, Florida, St. John's, Florida, flash flood warning. Now, why is that? They've had heavy rains that have come in off the eastern Atlantic Ocean and have penetrated into Florida up and down the entire panhandle of Florida, totally inundating Florida. Heavy rains and flooding going on. It's not surprising to me to hear of flooding in Florida at all, given that situation. Flooding in Florida has been going on now for 3 or 4 days. It's sad. Those of you that are in Florida, you need to head to higher ground and or make sure your homes has sandbags around them. Sandbag the bottom of your houses, sandbag the entryways, your doors and everything, so water does not get in your house. Okay? Ring of Light Craft said, lost you for a minute. I'm glad you're back. Arlo ponders is President Trump to give a national speech anytime soon. Doesn't surprise me. I was waiting for that. Surrey is talking about flooding at the Mississippi, and tonight Boone's quite dry in comparison. Hurricane Heather says she just saw a report that it was an Army sergeant that attacked those soldiers. Lama's Light saying was in Walmart. She was in Walmart and heard what she thought was fun fire. It was a construction. What would I have done? Lama's Light said she was scared. If I heard fire, I heard any gunshots at all, I would have taken anybody within my vicinity away and hid them out on the outside of that fire area where those shots were being fired, or even fire itself. I would have gotten people way out of there. Get them way out of there. If you are any kind of person and have leadership skills, and I'm not putting Lama's Light down, I'm not doing that at all. But if you have the capability yourself and you have presence of mind, get those people to the other side of the area. Get them completely away from the active fire. Get them completely away from any possible shots that are being fired. That way you keep people safe. Also, if the fire or the active shooting is towards the front of the store, I would go to one of the back parts of Walmart where they have restrooms and where they have exits at the back of the store. I would get employees and management back there and get people escorted out of the back of the store to keep everybody safe. I would also have management call police to get police en route there. If there was an active fire, to get the fire department also there. Okay? The basic thing that you need to do is make sure you go to the opposite area of where the shooting or the fire is going on. So have some kind of presence of mind to get to a safe place. Get to a safe place and take everybody that you can with you. Don Patoka says the VA was doing practice emergency alarms today. Doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me. The VA has active police there. They have United States GS-083 federal police on duty at the VA hospitals and any other VA facility. To back that up, they have federal emergency protective police on duty all over our cities and states. Those active duty federal police from the VA can pick up a phone or pick up their radios and ask for help. And the Federal Protective Service is within a radio call or a telephone call from any area that is governed by the federal government. Okay? I hope I answered your question, Lama's Light. She says, thanks, Ron. I appreciate that as well. Okay? Again, a flash flood warning has been issued today at 5:01 Eastern Time today for Jacksonville, Florida, Clay, Florida, Duval, Florida, and St. John's, Florida. All of you in those areas, the flash flood warning may or may not apply to Jacksonville, but the other towns it does. Clay, Florida, Duval, and St. John's, Florida, you guys need to go out higher ground. Go to an upper floor in a building, like a third or fourth floor in the building. That will keep you out of the flood waters. And Pickering says we don't need war. I agree, we don't. But again, Putin doesn't care. Putin had threatened war on the United States when he invaded Ukraine. When they invaded Ukraine, they told the United States to stay out of it, or they would attack us. During that time period, we have established an Air Force base in Poland. We have sent active military hardware to Ukraine. Putin warned against it. We did it anyway. We sent some troops over there to train Ukrainian people, and Putin warned against that. Now we sent more artillery, more arms to Ukraine for NATO. NATO's moved in. Before NATO moved in, threatened, promised that if NATO moved in, he would attack the West. NATO's already there. President Trump has set arms for NATO. The European nations are paying us to do that. Now, President Putin has put Bear bombers in the air with 16 fighter planes, 4 Bear bombers and 16 fighter planes to protect the bombers. Unreal. Unreal. Shirley says Putin threats on activating Yellowstone. Putin's not going to do squat on Yellowstone. Yes, he could put a nuke in the Yellowstone. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen at all. Again, Yellowstone is nowhere close to erupting, number one. Number two, if he nuked Yellowstone, there would actively be huge repercussions. Huge repercussions. I just don't think that's going to happen. Anybody that said he was going to attack Yellowstone is not even thinking straight. Yes, sir. Yes, Charlene, do you have a source for that information? I'd like to see it. Because anybody that says that it's going to happen, they're half out of their mind. It's not going to happen. Okay? Now, anyway, I want to go around the world and show earthquakes around the world first. Then I will go back and talk about earthquakes in Southern California. There was talks just a couple days ago that things had calmed down seismically in Los Angeles. What I've had to show you today, what I'm going to show you today, is that has not happened. We have active seismic information to show you that Los Angeles and Southern California is very active seismically. A lot of earthquakes. A lot of earthquakes. We're going to show you those now. We're going to show you those to you now. I'm going to take down our EMA banner. I'm going to take down our webcam as well. Okay? Looks like, dadgum. Looks like USGS is playing games here. Just a second. This usually happens midway through our briefing about earthquakes around the world, but I'm going to fix that right now. We're back. We're definitely back. As we know, last Wednesday night into Thursday, we had an 8.8, 9.4 earthquake here, just off the southeast coast of Kamchatka Peninsula. We've been talking about it ever since. Before that happened, we had earthquakes way back 3 weeks before that. Those earthquakes were 4.4, 4.5, 4.7, 4.8, 5.0, 5.4, and then we had a 7.8 earthquake. Everybody thought that was all that was going to happen. We had more aftershocks from the 7.8. Then we had an 8.8, 9.4 earthquake. Yes, 8.8 is what USGS said it was. But then we've seen other information that said it was actually 9.0. But I have a lot of information that points me to say that that earthquake was a 9.4. Very, very major earthquake. Now, I explained yesterday that this earthquake, that 8.8, 9.4 earthquake was a plate rupture here. I explained that as well. Now, we are still seeing aftershocks from the 8.8 earthquake. Yes, there were tsunami waves all around the Pacific Rim. All around the Pacific Ring of Fire. From Alaska all the way down to New Zealand and Australia and over Southeast Asia and all the way over here into South America, up and down the coastline from Chile, Argentina, Central America, Mexico, the United States and Canada. Tsunami waves up and down the coastline. We're still having aftershocks now. We're still seeing a lot of aftershocks now. You see this red earthquake? This earthquake just happened within the last 40 minutes. This is a 5.3 earthquake here. This is a large 5.3 earthquake here. This is 17.8 miles deep. 17.8 miles deep. Just east of there is another 5.2 large earthquake. To the north, you see other large earthquakes such as this right here. This is a 5.5. Now, 5.5 to 5.9 are considered to be very large earthquakes. Just to the northeast of that, this is another 5.3. To the southwest, this is a 5.8. All of these are very large earthquakes. Up here to the north, this is a 5.2. Okay? We've also had two violent volcanoes, Klyocheskoi and Kwashiorkor volcano. Kwashiorkor volcano erupted over here just hours after the 8.8 earthquake. Prior to that, we had the Klyocheskoi volcano erupt. So we have two active volcanoes here that are still erupting on Kamchatka Peninsula. Two volcanoes. We have 80 other volcanoes around the world, actually 78 other volcanoes around the world that are active now. Okay? They're active now. These volcanoes are putting up ash, they're putting up steam, they're putting up SO2, sulfur dioxide gas, and carbon dioxide gas into our atmosphere. Those are pollutants. CO2 is colorless and tasteless. Sulfur dioxide is not tasteless. It smells and tastes like sulfur gas, like rotten eggs. You can smell it. We've seen this over in Washington State. We've seen it in Oregon as well. We've seen it up in Alaska as well. We're very familiar with what that means. That means there's active magma there. There is either a volcano or there's active magma coursing through the crust of the earth where we walk. We've seen that. This is what's going on. It's ongoing. Now, because that earthquake was a massive, major earthquake, we are going to continue to see these aftershocks for quite some time to come. These aftershocks are not going to stop. Russia's not Russia, but the USGS is not even beginning to show all the earthquakes that have hit. This is only a small sample of what they want us to see. Okay? There are other earthquakes as well. Off the southeast coast of Hokkaido, Japan. This is on the Japanese fault. Eastern Japanese Trench here. This is a 4.6 moderate earthquake here. There are other earthquakes here in Japan as well. Down here in the Izu Islands here. This is a 4.3 earthquake here. Moderate 4.3 earthquake, nowhere near any islands or any other places where it can be felt. All of these earthquakes so far are offshore, and the ocean waters are absorbing the shock waves of these quakes. Now, further to the south of the southern island of Japan, down here in the Ryukyu Islands here of Japan, we have another 5.0 large earthquake. Okay, this is 44 miles west-northwest of Amagi, Japan. 44 miles west-northwest of Amagi, Japan. Nobody felt this earthquake either. Let's continue moving out here. Okay, we don't show any earthquakes here in Europe or the Middle East except for this one over here in Afghanistan. This is a 4.4 earthquake here. Now, it's not the only earthquake here. This is the only earthquake that USGS wants us to see. There are other earthquakes in this region in Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, and also here in Afghanistan. This is not the only earthquake here that USGS wants us to see. Down here in southern Iran, we have a 4.4 earthquake here. Southern Iran here, we have a 4.4. I thought I said a 5.4. It's a 4.4 earthquake here in southern Iran. Okay? Earthquakes here. Earthquakes all over here. We go over here to the Turkey-Syria border region. We have 44 earthquakes here. 44 earthquakes here in the Turkey-Syria border region. Why? Because over 2.5 years ago, February 3rd, 2023, we had a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake that occurred here. As I said yesterday, that earthquake was a major quake. It killed over 5,000 people and injured over 5,000 more. As a result of that earthquake, we're still seeing aftershocks. Aftershocks are going to continue to hit here for months, maybe years. It's already been 2 years, 2.5 years. We're probably going to see earthquakes here for another 5 or 10 years. Aftershocks, that 9.0, 10.0 earthquake here. We have earthquakes here in northern Turkey, central Turkey, and southern Turkey as well. Over here in western Turkey, most of these earthquakes in northern, central, and southern Turkey are 2.0, 2.1, 2.4 earthquakes. There are also a lot of 1.0 to 1.9 tremors here as well. Over here in western Turkey here, we have a bunch of earthquakes here, probably 22, 23 earthquakes at my last count. All here in western Turkey, up and down the coastline of western Turkey. We have earthquakes off here in the islands here. These islands are called the Dokanese Islands. The Dokanese Islands belong to Greece. The Dokanese Islands belong to Greece. There are probably another 16 or 18 earthquakes here in the eastern Dokanese Islands. We also have earthquakes. We have 4 or 5 earthquakes here in the central Dokanese Islands here. Why? Because we have magma down beneath the surface. Magma down beneath the surface of the Aegean Sea. The magma is hammering away at the crust of the earth here, trying to find a way to get to the surface to erupt. Every one of these islands were once a volcano. Every one of these islands, I should say, was. Every one of these islands was volcanized. It was either left over from lava on the surface, or it had a volcano that was actively moving, actively putting out lava. Every one of these islands are volcanized islands. That is why we have magma down beneath the surface, the crust of the earth, trying to find a way to erupt here. Okay? We have 18 earthquakes here in Greece. Fathom that. 18 earthquakes here in mainland Greece. Down here around Crete, we have about 5 earthquakes here in Crete, Greece. 5 earthquakes around Crete, Greece today. Okay? Over here further to the west in Italy. We have more earthquakes. We have 2 or 3 earthquakes here in southern Italy. We have 2 earthquakes here in northern Sicily. We have Mount Etna and Mount Stromboli out here that are erupting on these islands out here. 2 more volcanoes here, actively erupting. That's not all, folks. There's more. There's a lot more. We have Mount Vesuvius here that's trying to erupt here. Mount Vesuvius has been putting up steam and earthquakes for quite some time now, several months. At some point in time, the authorities here in Italy started evacuations from some of these towns. All around the southern and western coast of Vesuvius volcano. A lot of these areas were evacuated. People have gone back there now, but we're still seeing earthquakes here. Most of these earthquakes are tremors and minor earthquakes, but occasionally we're still seeing a 3.5 earthquake that can be felt, and even upwards of a 4.5 earthquake in these areas. Okay? Yes, Vesuvius is still steaming. Yes, there still is a very good possibility that we could see an active eruption from Vesuvius volcano. And if it does, the scientists all believe that it will be a catastrophic eruption. A catastrophic eruption here. Yes, there are plenty of earthquakes in this area. There's going to be plenty of earthquakes here for some time to come. Going up here to the north side, or actually shouldn't say north, but the north central side of Italy right here, right in this area here. We have 24 earthquakes here. That's getting to become normal. Most of these are tremors. There are some microquakes. We're also seeing some minor earthquakes here as well. Okay, we're still seeing minor earthquakes here as well. Usually when we have swarms like this, we usually see a large earthquake come of it. A large 5.0 large earthquake here. We expect it to happen. We don't know when it's going to happen. I'm not here to predict. I'm not here necessarily to forecast, but it's going to happen. It's happened before. It's going to happen again. Everybody here in Italy knows about it. Everybody here in Italy knows about it. The authorities know about it. The scientists are well aware of it. Okay? Up here in northern Italy as well. Right up here on the southern part of the Alps Mountains, we have minor tremors here. Over here to the resort areas of Italy here, we also have minor tremors and minor earthquakes here. 1.2, 1.7, 1.8 tremors, and 2.2, 2.4, and 2.5 earthquakes here. Going up into the Alps, most of the earthquakes here are tremors here. Around Austria, Germany, and Switzerland. 1.2, 1.5, 1.7 tremors. Yes, there is an occasionally 2.2 earthquake here. 2.2 minor earthquake here. Okay, that's typical. Over here in France, we have a handful of minor earthquakes here. Handful of minor earthquakes here in France. Over at the border region of France and Spain, we have 2 earthquakes here. One earthquake right in this area right here. It's a 2.2 earthquake. Just over here to the northwest, we have another 2.4 earthquake here. That's typical. Usually we have 2 earthquakes or 1 minor earthquake and 1 tremor here. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. Now, I'm going to take you over into Spain here. Most of these earthquakes in Spain are in southern Spain. These are 2.2 and 2.5 earthquakes down here in southern Spain, right in this area. We have 1 earthquake up here near Porto, Portugal. Porto, Portugal. I believe this is a 2.4 earthquake, if I'm not mistaken. Again, USGS is not telling us about any of this. Unreal. Sad. Very sad. Now, that's not all. There's more. There's more. They're not showing any earthquakes in England. I don't think there are earthquakes in England right now. However, over here in southwestern Sweden, just north of Göteborg, you see Gothenburg here? That's what the U.S. language says it is. But we call it Göteborg in Swedish. Between Västerås to the north here, and not Västerås, but you see Västra Jutland area here. This is just south of Vänersborg. We have earthquakes here. These are just minor tremors and 1 2.2 earthquake here in southwestern Sweden. Okay, over here in Norway, we have a 1.7 earthquake right here. We have another 1.8 earthquake up here in northwestern Norway. That's it. That's it, fortunately. Now I'm going to go over to Iceland. I'm going to go over to Iceland here. Now we've talked a lot about earthquakes, and we've talked a lot about volcanic eruptions here. Okay? I'm going to go back here to Grindavik. Grindavik is where I have some friends. Grindavik is where they had to evacuate this town about 2 years ago, and they've now allowed some people to come back. The government now owns these homes. The government owned the homes because they asked people to evacuate and not return. Why? Because everyone thought that Grindavik was going to erupt. We had a lot of earthquakes here in Grindavik. They thought it was going to erupt. In fact, We had a lot of earthquakes down here in Greenville Harbor. They thought we might have a volcanic eruption in the harbor. Would have been catastrophic. This harbor is home to fishing boats. They go out early in the morning and they come back here later in the evening full of fish. As you can see, they have several piers here. Alongside these piers are places where they process the fish. Then they ship the fish out to all areas of Iceland for everybody to consume. So Grindavik is very much an important port in Iceland. Yes, they had evacuated it, and they also had evacuated the fishing village here. Now it's back in operation. People started returning here to Grindavik. Right now, there is no threat to Grindavik from any volcanic eruption. The last volcanic eruption here was about a year ago, just outside the north side of Grindavik here. Okay, first we had an eruption right out here just to the northwest of this road here, this highway. The highway goes between Reykjavik, which is the capital of Iceland, and Grindavik. It's the main highway. We had an eruption here about a year or so ago. Now the magma underneath the ground has gone north. The magma that was beneath the ground here has gone north. Okay, where's it gone to? Let me pull back this map and I'll show you. Okay, over here, right up here. This is a place that's called Svartsengi. Svartsengi is a geothermal power plant. Svartsengi is a geothermal power plant, much like we have geothermal power plants down in the Imperial Valley, south of the Salton Sea, over in Sonoma County, California, just like we have over in north of Reno, just like we have around the Coastal Volcanic Field. This is a geothermal power plant. It's not just a power plant, but it carries hot water. Hot water coming from the volcano. The volcano heats up the groundwater, and the power plant here throws it through the pipes, pushes it through the pipes to every one of the households all over Iceland. Hot water and water supplies all over the island here of Iceland. Over here, we have a spa. Fancy that. Why do we have a spa here? We have thermal hot springs here. Thermal hot springs that are powered by the volcano beneath it. Okay? When this area was first getting hit with volcanic lava, okay, the volcano was out here. The volcano was out here just east of Svartsengi, right up in this area here. It was a huge lava field that opened up. Great big huge fissure putting out lava. That lava tried to infiltrate the Svartsengi power plant, but authorities built a huge hill, huge mountain barrier between the lava and the power plant. Also over here by the spa, the Blue Lagoon Spa. They built a huge lava mountain out here to keep the lava from infiltrating the spa as well. Last year, some lava got underneath the mountain barrier. It infiltrated the parking lot out here. It infiltrated the parking lot right here. Burned down a couple buildings at the parking lot, on the north side of this parking lot. Burned down those buildings and got the lava field out in this parking lot. They've since cleared the parking lot as well. They've even built barriers around their barrier to make sure it doesn't happen again. So far, there has been no lava infiltration since, but the fissures that have been supplying the magma, or the magma that's been supplying the fissures, has since moved north. Okay? The last eruption we had was out here last February, this past February. About a 12-kilometer long fissure opened up here. After 3 months, that fissure died out, left craters and a cone out here, left several craters and a cone where lava had been fountaining. Since then, so when that dried up, the lava moved even further north out here to Store Skogfeld. For about 3 weeks, we had an active volcano here. This time, only a 3/4 of a kilometer fissure opened up. 3/4 of a kilometer fissure opened up. Active lava fountaining all over this area. Now, all that was left has now dried up as of yesterday. Left a great big huge cone, 30-meter cone, 30-meter high cone here. Okay? The last of the lava stopped fountaining. There is no more fountaining. The cone is dried up now at the top. Okay? Lava at the top of the cone has got cold enough where now a lava plug of the volcano is now in place. Hopefully, it won't start up again. No more lava here at all. The lava this time did not penetrate Grindavik, did not penetrate the Svartsengi power plant here, or even the Blue Lagoon Spa. Fortunately, now they believe what is going to happen here is there's still a magma reservoir down beneath Svartsengi. There is still a magma reservoir that is now refilling. Why do they know it's refilling? Because they have seismic sensors. Seismic sensors, GPS sensors here at Svartsengi. The ground here has begun to rise. The ground here has begun to rise because the magma reservoir beneath it is refilling. The magma reservoir is refilling. But, as we've seen, even though the reservoir is filling, the magma has moved north. Hopefully it will continue moving north. But what happens if and when? What happens if and when the magma reservoir pops and destroys this geothermal power plant? This geothermal power plant provides power, provides hot water to all of Iceland. There is a small geothermal power plant up near Reykjavik up here. Up near Reykjavik, right up here. There's a small geothermal power plant here, but it's about feeding about a quarter of the population of Iceland. It only provides power and hot water to a quarter of Iceland. 3/4 of Iceland is powered by the power plant at Svartsengi. Scientists are hoping and praying, and the residents of Iceland are also hoping and praying that the Svartsengi power plant will never be destroyed. Even though, right beneath Svartsengi is this huge magma reservoir. Hopefully it won't happen. But as of yesterday, the reservoir is refilling, and that huge fissure that had opened up is gone. And the volcanic cone has stopped fountaining lava as of yesterday morning. That's what's happening here in Iceland. I want to give you an update on that volcano. Okay? I want to thank everybody that's here in our program. I've given you basically a tour of the world, talking to you about earthquakes and such that are happening. Okay? Now, they've reported earthquakes over here in New Jersey, near New York. Yes, there have been earthquakes. There are still some minor tremors happening here. Minor tremors. So far, nothing big. Yesterday, we had a 2.7 earthquake. 2.7 minor earthquake that shook people in New York. Hopefully, it's not going to happen again. It could. So as you remember, about a year or so ago, we had a 5.1 earthquake that hit here in New Jersey. Felt all over this area, all the way to Virginia, and all the way to Boston. Hopefully that won't happen again. But this area is still shaking. Yes, it is still possible that could happen. I'm just throwing this out to all of you so you'll understand what's happening. I believe everybody here on the East Coast should be prepared. Okay? Now, I want to go over to Massachusetts really quick here. I want to go over here to Massachusetts. Why? I'm going to tell you this. Okay. 3 years ago in Boston, right here, we had a 5.1 earthquake here 3 years ago. As it turns out, there's a volcano over here, guys. There's a volcano. They actually found lava near the epicenter of that earthquake. So they believe that earthquake was caused by volcanic action here in Boston. Could it happen again? Yes. Have we had any more noticeable seismic activity here in Boston? No. No, it hasn't happened. Hopefully it doesn't. But I just wanted to remind you of everything that's going on. I think everybody should understand what's happening. So Boston could have another volcanic eruption. Okay, right now it's not in the cards. We've had no further activity in Boston at all. But it could happen. It could happen. Okay? I've done an earthquake drill over in Boston on Cape Cod. I did an earthquake drill in Cape Cod just about 2014. They've since had some terrace drills highlighting Boston. They've had some other terrace drills throughout this area. I spent some time in Plymouth Rock here. I spent plenty of time in Boston. I've spent pretty long time here at Cape Cod. Could it happen again? Yes. Could very much happen. We're keeping those options open. Yes, we've had earthquakes up here in Maine. We've had earthquakes up here in Maine and also in Delaware. All throughout this area, we've had earthquakes. Could it happen? Yes. Very much could happen. We need to keep our hands and arms folded. We need to keep praying that it's not going to happen. Yes, it could. Very much could. Around the St. Lawrence Seaway, we've had earthquakes. St. Lawrence Seaway, we've had earthquakes here. Could it happen again? Yes. Could happen. Right in this area here, we have a huge volcano. Huge volcano. Could that volcano erupt? Possibly. Right now, it's not showing any signs of eruption. Hopefully, it doesn't happen. Could it? Yes. Yes, it could. Yesterday, we talked about the pneumatic fault. Yesterday, they didn't say anything about earthquakes here, did they? They usually don't. I showed you evidence that there are earthquakes here. There are plenty of earthquakes up and down the entire pneumatic fault zone. Here today, Tiptonville, Tennessee. Yesterday, we had plenty of minor tremors here in Tiptonville. That's what this is. This is the 1.6 that, yes, USGS is acknowledging we have tremors here in Tiptonville, Tennessee. The seismogram here showed tremors here. Ridgely, Tennessee had tremors and earthquakes. Tremors and minor earthquakes and one 3.0 earthquake in Ridgely, Tennessee yesterday. Today, again, we have more tremors here in Tiptonville, Tennessee. That's going to continue to happen. This entire area, all the way up here to Illinois, all the way over here into Indiana and Ohio, we have earthquakes as a result of the pneumatic fault. The pneumatic fault. From all the way down here in the Gulf of America, all the way up here to Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio, we're having earthquakes because of the pneumatic fault. And this shows the USGS sometimes acknowledges some of the earthquakes, not all of them. I would say there's probably 400 to 500 earthquakes here on the pneumatic fault. I'm talking tremors, I'm talking minor earthquakes, small and even moderate earthquakes here along the pneumatic fault today. In fact, every day. These earthquakes don't stop or even slow down. These are continuous earthquakes. And the seismicity means the strength of these earthquakes are increasing and the number of earthquakes here on the pneumatic fault are increasing. Over here in Oklahoma, let's take a look at this new earthquake here. Any red earthquakes are new earthquakes within 40 minutes time. This is near Salem, Oklahoma. This is a 1.8 tremor. Guys, Oklahoma has 586,000 pumps and jacks pumping oil and gas out of the ground here. And USPS is only showing 2 tremors here. This being a 1.8 here, just outside of Salem, Oklahoma. And this tremor here, a 1.7 near Velma, Oklahoma. We never even saw earthquakes here in Velma, Oklahoma before. Only during the last month have we seen earthquakes here in Velma, Oklahoma. This is a 1.7 tremor. Down here in southern Texas, we've seen 5.0 earthquakes happen here. They're happening again. This is a 1.4 tremor here. This is a 1.1 tremor here. Three Rivers, Texas. This is not going to stop. Not going to stop. We've seen earthquakes in San Antonio. We've seen earthquakes in Austin, Texas. We've seen earthquakes in Killeen, Texas. Waco, Texas. We've seen earthquakes in Dallas. We've seen earthquakes over here in Abilene. San Angelo, Texas here. Most of the earthquakes we're now seeing are over here in western Texas. We've seen earthquakes as far north as Lubbock, Texas. Down here, this is a 1.5 tremor over here near Forson, Texas. 1.5 tremor near Forson, Texas. Midland, Texas. We've seen plenty of earthquakes here. We're seeing a swarm of earthquakes around Midland, Texas. This is a 2.3 earthquake here near Stanton, Texas. Stanton had a 5.1 earthquake here last year. We're seeing a swarm of earthquakes here. This is a 1.9, 2.0 here. This is a 1.2 earthquake here, tremor. Right here, this is a 2.6 minor earthquake here. This just outside Midland, Texas. We've seen earthquakes in Odessa, Texas before. Odessa, Texas, we've had earthquakes there because of coal. Huge mining of coal here. Huge mining of coal near Odessa, Texas. As some of those mine shafts collapse, then we have earthquakes here. We saw a massive 5.3 earthquake here just about 6 months ago. Okay? There are earthquakes over here that are going to continue to happen. Southwestern Texas has seen a ton of earthquakes here. Okay? This is a 1.1 tremor here near Odessa. Okay? This is just south of Pecos, Texas here near Lindsay, Texas here. South of there, this is 1.8. This is 1.8 near Toyah, Texas. Toyah, Texas. Out here to the west, this is a 2.9, 3.0. This is a 1.5. This is a 1.8. Swarms of earthquakes continue to plague southwestern Texas. Oil and gas and even mining of coal out here causes these earthquakes. Okay, that's what's happening. Okay, now yes, I'm going to come over here to Southern California and show you earthquakes all over Southern California. Give me a couple minutes, we'll be back here. Okay, I'm going to go up here to the San Andreas Fault. Let's go way up here. Okay, just offshore from Petrolia, California, here in Northern California. This is on the San Andreas Fault here. This is a 3.0 earthquake. 3.0 small earthquake, just 12 miles west of Petrolia, California, on the northern San Andreas Fault. We have another earthquake we need to talk about. This earthquake is a 3.4 small earthquake here. This is just north of what? The Gorda Escarpment. The Gorda Escarpment is an east-west fault zone going away from Northern California off the coast. Just on the north side of that fault, we have a 3.4 small earthquake. This is typical. We've had 3.4s, we've had 3.4s, 3.5s, 4.2, 4.4, even out here on the western side of the Gorda Escarpment near the Gorda Ridge. We had a 5.0 here just about 6 months ago. We have earthquakes here. That's normal. That's pretty much normal. All this area is the southern part, southern part of the Cascadia Megathrust Earthquake Fault Zone. The Southern California, I got Southern California on the brain. This is the southern part of the Cascadia Megathrust Earthquake Zone. Okay? Yes, we have earthquakes up here in Washington, but they're still not showing all the earthquakes here, either along the coast or at the volcanoes. We're going to talk about the Pacific Northwest tomorrow afternoon. Let's go back down here. Again, I'm talking about the earthquakes coming from the San Andreas Fault going south. Yes, we have earthquakes north of San Francisco Bay. This is the geysers area. This is the geothermal power plant here in Sonoma, California. We have anywhere from 30 to 50 earthquakes here every day. Geothermal power plant. We have earthquakes here because we have drilled into the upper magma chambers of this lake up here. What's this like? What's this like, guys? This is the Clear Lake volcano. This is the Clear Lake volcano. Men have drilled into the upper magma chambers of this volcano to obtain steam from the volcano to power turbines down here in the geysers facility. Interesting, huh? The seismic energy coming off the Pacific Ocean, coming off the Pacific Plate, comes over here to these man-made earthquake faults. Man-made earthquake faults. It fractures the rock of the faults, fractures the rock of the faults, and causes earthquake movement. That's why we have earthquakes here. These earthquakes are typically tremors to minor earthquakes. Occasionally, we will have a 3.5, 4.0, 4.5 earthquake here. Occasionally. Most of these are either tremors and or minor 2.2, 2.4, 2.5, 2.7 earthquakes here. Typically. But again, each one of these earthquakes represents a fault, a man-made hole in the ground. Okay? The holes supply steam from the volcano. This is just one of 81 different boilers. 81 different boilers here. 81 different boilers that supply electricity to Northern California and all over Southern California as well, all the way down to Los Angeles, Southern California Edison. Pacific Gas and Electric was the founding father of the geothermal power plant here at the geysers. But now there are 4 other energy conglomerates, including Rocky Mountain Power of Utah. Rocky Mountain Power derives power from the geysers power plant here. Okay, that's what's happening. 81 different thermal generators here, all over Sonoma County, California. Okay, but that has nothing to do with San Andreas Fault, does it? The San Andreas Fault comes out of Northern California, where I showed you, runs along the coastline here, and then comes down south here, just west of San Francisco Bay. Interesting enough. Right now, we don't have any earthquakes on the San Andreas Fault, but over here in the northern part of San Francisco Bay here, we have an earthquake here. This is a tremor. This is a 1.6 tremor here near Venetian, California. Over here in the bay, What's here in the bay? Let me show you. Look at this, guys. There's a quarry. There is a quarry over here in near San Rafael, near Santa Venetia, California. Quarry. Yes, we have active quarry here. Yes, we have people that are actively digging in this quarry. And one day this quarry is going to blow. It's going to blow a hole out here, and the San Francisco Bay will probably expand into the quarry. But we have an earthquake here, probably as a result of mining at the quarry. This is a 1.6 tremor here in northern San Francisco Bay. Incredible, huh? Absolutely is. This happens almost every day. We don't hear about it because USGS doesn't report it, usually. There are other earthquakes here as well along the Hayward Fault. See this fault line that runs along the eastern side of San Francisco Bay? The Hayward Fault. Active. Earthquakes happening on it every day. Out here to the east, right here. This fault is called the Calaveras Fault. It runs parallel to the Hayward Fault. Back in 1989, October 1989, I believe it was on the 7th of October, we were just going to start the World Series here in San Francisco. We had a 6.9, 7.2 earthquake here that was on the Hayward Fault. Major destruction here in San Francisco. It shook the San Francisco Giants Stadium. They had to evacuate the stadium. Parts of the Bay Bridge also went into the bay, collapsed into the bay. Hundreds of people were killed as a result of that earthquake. It's going to happen again. We can't say what's going to happen during the earthquake, but this kind of damage could happen again. What happens when the San Andreas Fault opens up here? Let's ask that again. What happens when the Cascadia megathrust earthquake opens up near Tacoma, Seattle, Washington, and triggers the San Andreas Fault? That is going to have repercussions down here all over California, especially the major cities and towns up and down the fault zone. We're going to see major destruction here in San Francisco. Can happen. Can happen. Major destruction over here near Monterey Bay. Let's go south. Right here. We have another great, big, huge, small city. Very small town. Fairfield, California. Earthquake capital of the world. Fairfield, California. No, USGS is not showing all the earthquakes, but it's on the San Andreas Fault right here. See the San Andreas Fault here. Fairfield, California will probably be destroyed. Let's go south. The San Andreas Fault continues to go south here. This area around here, San Luis Obispo here, Santa Maria, California, Lompoc, Santa Barbara here, probably also going to be destroyed. Yes, the San Andreas Fault is east of there, but the shaking coming from the Cascadia earthquake is going to reach this area. Probably 7.0, 7.5 earthquake happening here. This area is going to be pretty much destroyed as well. Life is going to change as we know it. That earthquake energy is also going to come down here into LA area. Ventura, Oxnard, Thousand Oaks, all over Los Angeles County. Santa Clarita out here. All over LA here. The San Andreas Fault runs on the east side of LA. There are hundreds of faults all over the LA basin. Those ancillary faults will be activated by the San Andreas. Los Angeles will also be destroyed. Today we see earthquakes here. I'm just going to briefly touch on some of the earthquakes we're seeing. We're seeing a small swarm of earthquakes here. This is Little Creek, California. Coso Junction. The Coso Volcanic Field is here. This earthquake I've highlighted here is a 2.5 minor earthquake. Coso Volcanic Field. This is a 1.0 tremor here. This is a 2.1 earthquake here. This is a 3.7 earthquake here, Little Creek, California. Unreal, guys. Unreal. Things are going to happen here. Things are going to happen here. You see a small swarm of earthquakes spread out through this area. Part of it is Kosovo volcanic field. It's a volcanic field, guys. Magma's underneath the rock here, in the crust of the earth. Up here near Interstate 15, too. Major artery going to the northwest. Hitchhiker Effect just gave us a super chat, a $10 super chat. Hitchhiker, I appreciate that very much. Thank you for that super chat. I'm going to give you an EMA sticker on your super chat. I'm also going to give you a thumbs up about that as well. Thank you so much. Hitchhiker says, Emergency Management Associates, are there regulations as to where these companies can drill? Like not near fault lines or weak spots in the crust? Guess what? That is exactly where they drill. That is exactly where they drill. Guys, why do you think we have a geothermal power plant at Kosovo volcano? Right in the middle of a volcanic field. They're obtaining superheated water to power turbines to generate electricity here in Southern California from the Kosovo volcanic field. They're doing the same thing up in the geysers area. The very same thing. Yes, there are some regulations now, but it's too late for most places because it's already happened. Now, you ask, are there any regulations where they can drill? Let's go down here in Los Angeles, over here at East LA. What do you think has happened over here in Eastern LA? Does anybody know what they have here in Eastern LA? What do you think is going on here in LA? Over here in the hills. That's not it. Where is it here? They've got a spot here just north of Los Angeles. It's called the Baldwin Hills. The Baldwin Hills used to be a forested area here in Los Angeles. Back in the 40s and early 50s, they plowed it down. They knocked down the trees, they knocked down the hills, and now it's a great big flat area on top of a forested area. What do you think they're doing? They've been pulling oil and gas out of Baldwin Hills since the 40s and 50s. 1940s, 1950s. It's still active today. Still active today. Do they have any more regulations? Yes, they have some. But every time there's an earthquake in Los Angeles, the oil pressure at the volcano, I shouldn't say the volcano, the oil pressure over at Baldwin Hills goes down. Every time they have an earthquake here in Los Angeles, oil pressure goes down. Now, they don't like to publicize this because they don't want to frighten anybody. A lot of people know that when the oil pressure goes down, it's signaling a large earthquake that's going to happen. Guess what? Oil pressure's been down for some time, yet they keep pumping it. They keep pumping it. They're going to continue to pump it. It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. Guys, I have it on good authority. Even when the major earthquake hits Los Angeles, they're going to try to keep the Baldwin Hills in operation because they want to make money. The oil companies want to make money. They're going to continue pumping regardless. Regardless. What's going to happen? There's going to become a major catastrophe here in Los Angeles. Very major catastrophe here in Los Angeles. It's bound to happen. Don Patoga says the effects may cause irreparable issues. Yeah, it will. And I believe everybody has a right to know it, number one. Everybody also has the obligation. That's why we're here. We're here to tell everybody you need to be prepared. You need to be prepared because this is going to happen. The politicians and the other authorities here see it happening. But money talks. Money talks. When money talks, nobody else listens. Nobody else listens. Fact. Things are happening all over Los Angeles, but you don't see earthquakes being publicized here on the USGS map, do you? Hardly any at all. Over here, right here. This is near Ontario, California. San Bernardino County, California, right here. We have a swarm of earthquakes. Swarm of earthquakes. This one is a 3.4 earthquake. This one is a 3.2 earthquake. This one is a 3.5 earthquake. Look at the other earthquakes around. They are aftershocks to that 3.5. Those are aftershocks of the 3.5 over here in Ontario, California. It's over here in the housing area, guys. Look at this. All around the housing area. Yes, over here near an industrial park here, we have a 1.7 tremor here. Over here, another housing area here is another 1.4 tremor here. Right alongside the freeway here too. Right beside Riverside Drive here. Under houses. Under houses. These are only small earthquakes. Guess what? Larger earthquakes are going to happen here as well. We've seen earthquakes happen here before. Yes, this neighborhood got woken up today. They got woken up at about 9:40 this morning. It's going to continue happening here. It's going to continue happening. Down here is south, just south of Corona here, 1.2 tremor here. This is nothing. This is nothing. Over here, Moreno Valley. This is a 0.9, 1.0 tremor. Again, up here, Little Creek, right alongside the San Andreas Fault. This earthquake here is right beside the San Jacinto, Rialto, California. This is a 3.5 earthquake, San Jacinto Fault. We have other earthquakes here, such as this one on the San Jacinto. 1.0 tremor here, Moreno Valley. Further out here on the San Andreas, we have a 1.4 here in Morongo Valley. Further south here, Idlewild, California, San Bernardino Mountains on the San Jacinto Fault. 1.0 tremor. 0.3 microquake. 0.7. All Idlewild, California. Interesting, huh? Look at all these earthquakes along the San Jacinto Fault. This one here. This is North San Diego County, near Fallbrook, California. 0.7 microquake. This is 0.8. This one here is in the Anza Borrego Desert State Park, La Quinta, California. 0.8. Let's go down here into San Diego County here. This is Lake Henshaw, just northeast of Escondido. This is a 0.7 tremor. This is a 1.1 tremor here, near Lake Henshaw. Let's zoom in here. I want to show you where this is. Down here near San Felipe here. Yes, California. Warner Springs, California. 1.0 tremor here. Guys, I fish here at Lake Henshaw. I have fished here at Lake Henshaw. A lot. We didn't have any tremors back then, but we are now. Lake Henshaw is just northeast of Escondido. I used to live in Escondido. Fancy that. This is along the Elsinore Fault. The Elsinore Fault. This is Elsinore here. This is Lake Elsinore. I'm going to show you earthquakes here as well. The Elsinore Fault also comes down here. Okay? Palomar Mountain has earthquakes here. Okay? Palomar Mountain. This is Borrego Springs, California. Like I said, the Anza-Borrego Desert State Park in northeast San Diego County. This earthquake here. Just a few months ago, earlier this year, we had a 5.1 earthquake here in Julian, California. Guess what? Guess what we're doing here? We have a small swarm of earthquakes here near Julian. This is a 1.0 tremor here. Just north of it, 0.7. Out here to the west, this is 0.8 microquake. And not to be outdone, this is 0.9 1.0 tremor. Look at this bunch of earthquakes here. Swarm. This is a 1.2 Julian. This is a 1.2. This is 0.7 microquake. Right here is a 1.0 tremor. Down to the south, this is a 1.1 tremor here. This is 0.8 microquake, Julian, California. These are aftershocks of the 5.1 earthquake here earlier this year. This is East San Diego County. Down here to the south, Pine Valley, California. Julian and Pine Valley are a forested part of San Diego County in the East County Mountains here. We're having tremors and earthquakes here. This, they say, is a minus 0.1, which means above sea level. Well, guess what? This is not above sea level. Again, USGS is lying to us. This is 5.4 miles deep. This is not above sea level at all. This is over here in the mountains here. Pine Valley, California. Unreal. Now, further south, what do we have? Right here. This is Ocotillo Wells. This is a 0.7 microquake. This is a 1.0 tremor here. We have a new earthquake here. This just happened. This is a 1.2 tremor here. This is Ocotillo Park. Ocotillo Park. I'm going to show you an earthquake seismogram just a few minutes here at Ocotillo Park. Okay? Stuff is happening. There's a lot more happening than is shown here on the map. Going over here further to the east. This is on the east side of the Chocolate Mountains. The Chocolate Mountains divide San Diego County from Imperial County here. This is a 1.0 tremor out here in the desert just west of the Salton Sea. I'm going to point out a couple locations here around the Salton Sea, so when I show you seismograms, you know where we got the seismograms. Okay? Right here. This is Salton City. This is Salton City right here, so you know. Over here to the northeast here, this is North Shore of Salton Sea. North Shore of Salton Sea here. I'm going to show you a seismogram from here today. Let's go south here. I'm going to show you a seismogram from Bombay Beach. Bombay Beach here. Bombay Beach is very active. Look what's happening here. The San Andreas Fault comes down here along the east side of the Salton Sea. It affects everything over here at North Shore Salton Sea. It affects everything here at Bombay Beach. I'm going to show you some good sized earthquakes here at Bombay Beach today. It happens every day. Not just once a day, not once a week, but every day here at Bombay Beach. I'm going to show you earthquakes here at Nyland and also Calipatria, California, right here. When we talk about Nyland or Calipatria, it's right here. Earthquakes every day here. 50 to 75 earthquakes here a day. Used to be up to 150 earthquakes here at Calipatria today. Fact. Fact. Okay, let's go south here. Brawley, California. I'm going to show you a swarm of earthquakes here in Brawley, California. I did a speech and debate tournament in high school here at Brawley, California. Lots of fun. Lots and lots of fun. I'm going to show you a seismograph from Imperial, California. Yes, Imperial, California here. Earthquakes here. Juanito, that's here in the chat here today, he lives here in El Centro. I'm going to show you substantial amounts of 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes here in El Centro. I've been through here in El Centro many times. Okay, show you plenty of earthquakes here in El Centro. Then I'm going to come over here to Holtville. Holtville, California is home to the Salton Sea Desert Research Station, which is a museum basically here in Holtville, California. They have a seismograph located here in Holtville, California at the Salton Sea Desert Research Station here. I'm going to show you plenty of earthquakes here in Holtville, California as well. Get ready, guys. I'm going to blow your mind with earthquakes. Earthquakes all over the Imperial Valley, earthquakes in Los Angeles all over, earthquakes north of LA as well. All over this area. Gonna happen. Gonna happen, guys. I've given you a tour of Southern California now. I've shown you earthquakes here in the United States. Let's go over and see the seismographs. Let's go over here and visit the seismographs so you can know what's exactly going on. I'm going to bring up our webcam here. I'm going to keep our EMA banner off right now for now. I'm going to turn off the USGS map because I've shown you all I want to show you. Because USGS is not doing it. They can't do it. They don't have the guts to do it. Unreal. Now, I hate like heck that B's doing this. I hate like heck to say that the USGS is not doing their job, but they're not. USGS has not been doing their job for years. Literally years. Guys, this is off the Los Angeles coastline. This seismogram here is off the coastline of LA. This is Channel Island off the coast. Look at this. For the most part, we have a bunch of tremors. We have some minor earthquakes here as well. Minor earthquakes such as this one here after 6:30. Look over here on the left-hand side to the top of the seismogram. The seismogram starts at 5 a.m. in the morning on the top black line here on the left. This blue line here on the left is 6:30. This earthquake here happened just after 6:32 this morning. 2.2, 2.3 earthquake. Look what's happened. It didn't stop. Earth kept shaking, didn't it? Still shaking. You see all kinds of tremors. You see all kinds of minor earthquakes, such as this here on this red line here. This red line is after 7:15 over on the left-hand side. We go to over here. This represents 7:09 a.m. this morning. Not 7:09. On the red line, 6:15 over here on the left. This is 6:24 a.m. here on this red line. 2.4, 2.5 earthquake. Over here on this next blue line on the right-hand side. This is after 8:30 on the left. Over here, this is approximately 8:42 a.m. here. 8:42 a.m. right there. Another 2.5, 2.6 earthquake. Over here on the right-hand side. This would be 9:32 this morning. On the, well, not 9:32, I'm sorry, 9:44 a.m. this morning. Again, a 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. Unreal. Minor earthquakes. Now, let's jump down here to this green line. This green line here on the left-hand side would be 11:30. So we go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? 11:45 on the left-hand side. Here we have 11:51 a.m. this morning. This is a 3.0 small earthquake here. 3.0 small earthquake here. Channel Island, off the coast. Yes, during the past 2 to 3 weeks, we've had quite a few small earthquakes here. Small determined by 3.0, 3.9 earthquakes. I had quite a few small earthquakes here on Channel Island. Okay, why? Why? Because there are all kinds of faults over here. Literally all kinds of faults all over this area. Okay, yes, they go offshore. As I explained before, there is an earthquake fault called the Newport Inglewood Fault. Newport Beach, Inglewood, California, Newport Inglewood Fault. Back in 1974, it let loose with a huge earthquake. Huge 6.9, 7.4 earthquake. Huge. It devastated Northridge, devastated that entire area. I was up there after the earthquake hit. They called for assistance from other agencies throughout the federal government, state and local governments all over LA. I went there. My partner and I were there for a week, helping provide law enforcement assistance. A California highway patrolman lost control of his motorcycle going down, I believe it was 405 freeway in Los Angeles when the earthquake hit. The shaking threw him all over the freeway. He and his motorcycle plowed into a bridge abutment and killed him. Unfortunately. The aftershocks woke my partner and I up many times during the night. We were there. This is Channel Island. Okay. The Newport Inglewood Fault also stretches out into the harbor. It connects with the Rose Canyon Fault that goes into San Diego County. Newport Inglewood Fault connects with the Rose Canyon Fault that goes into San Diego County. We'll talk about San Diego County in a few minutes. Okay? Let's continue to talk about this. Let's go out into the desert. Let's go out to Victorville where Isaiah's granny lives. Isaiah's granny is a dear friend of ours. She's also modeling this channel. She doesn't come here very often. I know she's very busy, taking care of her family and grandkids. This is Victorville. This is right on top of the San Andreas Fault here. Here we're seeing just tremors, nothing but tremors and some microquakes here as well. Plenty of tremors here. Sometimes we even see minor earthquakes. This is nothing but tremors here in Victorville, California. Let's go over here to the desert in Bakersfield. The seismograph that recorded this information here is at the University of California in Bakersfield. Look at this. Yes, we have microquakes here. We also have some minor earthquakes. Nothing big here at all. These are tremors and minor earthquakes here in Bakersfield, California. That's all that's happened here. But look at the intensity of these tremors. They're getting more and more intense, and there's more and more of them. The San Andreas Fault is very active here. Okay? Bakersfield, California. I told you we talked about Cabazon a few minutes ago. We have a bunch of tremors at Cabazon. Guess what? Look at this. This is a lot more tremors than the USGS says that we're having at Cabazon. This is over in the desert area at the base of the mountains here of San Bernardino. Again, the San Andreas Fault here. Look at that. The San Andreas Fault is very active. The San Andreas Fault is going to pop. It's a matter of time. The San Andreas Fault is locked and loaded. Locked and loaded. At any point in time, we're going to have a huge earthquake here. By huge, I'm talking a major 7.0 to 8.0 earthquake here. We talked about that about 2 weeks ago. We gave you a complete report about the San Andreas Fault. Very dangerous fault. Let's go out northeast of Los Angeles to Lancaster. Again, on the San Andreas Fault. Look at this. Look at all these tremors here in Lancaster. Very busy here. Very, very busy here. Again, on the San Andreas Fault. Let's go south to Idlewild, again near Cabazon. Look at the tremors here. All kinds of tremors and all kinds of microquakes here. USGS is not even touching on the number of tremors and microquakes at Idlewild, California. Again, this is a mountain community in the mountains of San Bernardino. San Bernardino Mountains. Idlewild, California here. You've heard me talk about Idlewild. I have been in Idlewild before. Like I said, it's a mountain community. Great restaurants, knickknacks, all kinds of curios and souvenirs here in Idlewild. During the wintertime, it's a ski haven. People snow ski. They what do they call it? Mountaineering skiing, where they're not necessarily going down a hill, they're just sliding across the snow. Been there, done that. But Idlewild, California is a great place. Winter, spring, summer, fall. Spring and summer, it's a great, and even in the fall, it's a great place to explore, a great place to hike. Like I said, plenty of souvenir and curio shops, plenty of restaurants to see as well. Great food, really great food. There are A-frame cabins here. The cabins do not have television sets, they have radios. It's a very quiet community. They listen to radios, they listen to music. Great place. Really great place if you want to go for a weekend or even a small vacation. Great place. Idlewild, California. Let's continue here. Okay. I showed you Idlewild. Let's go out to the Rancho Mirage, also near the San Andreas Fault. Look at this. Tremors and microquakes here. Tremors and microquakes here. There are no minor earthquakes. These are all tremors and microquakes. Again, on the San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault is letting loose with these minor incidentals here. At some point in time, this earthquake fault is going to let loose with a major earthquake. Fact. Fact. Now, I want to go over to Riverside, California. Riverside, California is the only place in Southern California where the seismic energy has dipped. The seismic energy has dipped here in Riverside. Why? I'll never know. Okay? Up until 2 years ago, seismic energy was abounding here in Riverside, California. We had actually seen tremors and minor earthquakes here in Riverside. Now it's just tremors, nothing but tiny tremors. 1.0, 1.1, 1.2 tremors, that's all. We were seeing minor earthquakes here before. Things have calmed down. When the San Andreas Fault lets loose, it's going to destroy Riverside. There are millions of people living here in Riverside, probably close to 2 million people here in Riverside, California. It's a beautiful community. Beautiful community. But it's going to be turned upside down by the San Andreas Fault. Unreal. Yes, Jeremy, Jeremy Crisper said snowboarding all over Idlewild and the San Bernardino Mountains. It's a snowboarders and skiers paradise. It really is. But again, this is a desert in Riverside County, California. Okay, let's keep going here. Now, I want to go over to Next place I want to go to is over at LA, Whittier, California. Look at this. This is the seismograph over at Rose Hill Cemetery in Whittier, California. Whittier, California is where former President of the United States from 1968 to 1974, Richard Milhous Nixon, was born here in Whittier, California. This cemetery is probably where he's buried. Okay? Whittier, California. Look at the earthquakes here. These are minor earthquakes here. These are minor earthquakes here. 2.2, 2.5 earthquakes here in Whittier, California. Again, USGS did not show them, but they're here on the seismograph. The only way you're going to see these earthquakes and know that they're real is to go to the seismograph and pick it out. Because USGS is not going to talk about it. USGS is covering it up. They don't want to know, they don't want anybody to know exactly what's going on. Yes, Los Angeles at some point is going to be destroyed again. Los Angeles is going to be destroyed again, partially by the San Andreas Fault, but the activation of the ancillary faults all over the Los Angeles basin. Whittier, California, with minor earthquakes here. Let's keep going. I want to show you now. I showed you that area of Ontario where the earthquakes are happening. Look at this. This is a map showing those earthquakes and the residential areas that the earthquakes are in. That large earthquake at the center of those earthquakes is a 3.4. 3.3 over on the right-hand side, and a 3.2 up here on the left-hand side. 3.3, 3.4, 3.5 earthquakes here in Ontario, California. All the rest of these are tremors. All the rest of these are tremors here in Ontario, California. But I want to show you the swarms here. Okay? Now, I showed you Whittier. I've shown you Ontario. Let's go over to Chino, California. Look at this. I'm sorry. Let me reduce the size of this side so you can see what's going on in Chino. Guys, this is Chino, California. For the most part, we're seeing microquakes and we're seeing tremors. Microquakes and tremors. However, besides that, down here on this bottom black line, I pulled off the internet from Southern California Seismic Agency here, Caltech. I pulled it off just after 12 noon Pacific time. The bottom here shows an earthquake just prior to 12:01 p.m. this afternoon. 2.0 earthquake. Then over here at 12:04 p.m. this afternoon, that is a 1.7 tremor. 1.7 tremor. Yes, we have tremors and earthquakes here on this sideground here at Chino. Yes, we've had more activity at Chino here before. Things have calmed down here at Chino somewhat. Usually we've had minor tremors and minor earthquakes all over Chino. Things have calmed down here at Chino. All right. Let's go over to north of Los Angeles to a suburb called Del Amo. Look at this. Again, this is just north of Los Angeles. This is more than just minor tremors here. Longer lines you see up and around the entire sidegram here are minor earthquakes. Minor earthquakes. 2.0, 2.5, 2.7 minor earthquakes here. Del Amo, California. Just north of Los Angeles. I'm going to show you more now. Let's go over to Ellis, California here. Ellis is also just north of Los Angeles. Look at the earthquakes here. Yes, up at the top, always see our tremors. Always see or hear our tremors for about 2.5 hours. However, just after 6:30 a.m. this morning, over here on the right, 6:30 over here on the left on the blue line, over on the right, now we are at 6:09 a.m. on here on the right, on the blue line. Here we see tremors, then all of a sudden after that it comes to 2.0 earthquakes. Then we come over about 2 minutes later, and all of a sudden we have a 2.9 3.0 earthquake. Small earthquake here in Del Amo, just north of LA. The rest is here is all minor earthquakes, 2.0, 2.5 earthquakes. But that doesn't end. Look at the red line below that. The red line below that is after 7:15 in the morning. 7:15 over on the left-hand side, we get over here to the right. At approximately 7:08 a.m., 2.0 earthquake. A minute later, a 2.5 earthquake. Then we have a bunch of 2.0s and minor earthquakes after that. Look throughout this seismograph. You see 2.0, 2.5 earthquakes all over this seismograph. Literally. Down at the bottom on the black line. That black line on the left is 12 noon. 12 noon. Just after 12:03, 2.5 earthquake. We come about 2.5 minutes later to another 2.3 earthquake. All the rest of this is all tremors here after that. Ellis, California is moving. You can see it. Even 3.0 earthquakes here in Ellis, California. Wild. Just north of Los Angeles. You don't see those on the USGS map, do you? They're not showing any of this. You guys in Los Angeles are feeling these quakes. You guys in Los Angeles are feeling these quakes. Let's go over east to Fontana. Fontana. Last week, USPS was talking about a 4.3 earthquake here in Fontana. There were larger earthquakes than 4.3. 4.5, 4.7 earthquakes here in Fontana. Look what's happening here today. We have minor tremors. We have minor earthquakes here. 2.5, 2.7, 2.9, and even 3.0 small earthquakes here. They're continuing to happen. All over this seismograph, you see these earthquakes. Earthquakes. 2.0 to 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes all over this seismograph. Let's go down to the bottom green line here. Let me show you what's going on. The bottom green line here on the left is 11:45 a.m. this morning. What do we have? Just after 11:45, we have a 2.7 earthquake. We have a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake just at 12:46 or 11:46. A minute later, another 2.9, 3.0 earthquake. Okay. Then we move over here further to the right. Okay, on this green line. At 11:52 a.m. this morning here. 11:52 a.m. I'm going to zoom in on it here. That earthquake there that you see in the center of your screen here, 2.9, 3.0 earthquake. 3 minutes later, another one. 3.0, 3.2 there. We go over 1, 2, 3, almost 4 minutes later. Another 3.3 earthquake here. Fontana, California, guys. Fontana, California. They're not showing this on the USGS map, are they? They showed the 4.3. There were 4.4 and 4.5 earthquakes last week. They showed a 4.3. Let's continue over here on this black line here. We're seeing 2.7, 2.8 earthquakes here on this black line here. This black line here is after 12 noon. I just pulled this right after 12 noon here. Approximately 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 12:05 this morning Pacific time, I pulled this seismograph. This was the activity so far. Guess what? It's continuing. It has not stopped. It has not stopped. Fontana, California is moving, guys. It's not going to stop. This is just west of the San Andreas Fault. Fontana is on the San Jacinto Fault. Actually, just barely between the San Jacinto and the San Andreas. Mostly closer to the San Jacinto. That's why we have all these earthquakes here. Again, the San Andreas Fault is about to pop. We would not be seeing these kinds of earthquakes in Fontana if the San Andreas was not about to pop. It's ongoing. Hasn't stopped. USGS wants us to think it stopped because they don't report it. But again, USGS never tells us exactly what's going on. They never have, never will. They want us to go in blind. They don't want us to see anything going on. Now, the next diagram, I'm going to show you something else in Hollywood. Look at this. Look at this. All these wavy lines don't mean a darn thing. This is called abstract. The agency puts us in there so we won't know what's going on. This diagram is over in North Hollywood. North Hollywood. If you look very close after approximately 8 a.m. this morning on the black line, you see a minor 2.0 earthquake right there. Minor 2.0 earthquake right here. Now, if the wavy lines were not here, you would be seeing tiny tremors. You would be seeing tiny tremors. Hollywood is moving. Hollywood is moving. There's a Hollywood Hill fault. You remember that sign on top of the Hollywood Hills? There's a fault zone there. Hollywood Hills is moving, guys. It's moving. Unfortunately, Caltech and USGS don't want anybody to see anything. Heaven forbid they see this. Unreal. Let's go south over to the shoreline south of LA. Let's go over to Laguna Niguel, right here. Look at this, guys. They have nothing but tremors. Minor tremors, nothing else. Yes, in the past, we've had minor tremors, and we've had some minor 2.0, 2.2, 2.3 earthquakes as well. This is along the coastline, south of LA, Laguna Niguel, California. Let's go north. I want to take you north and show you what's actually happening there. Okay? I want to go over to Playa del Rey, Marina del Rey. Again, this is along the coastline north of Los Angeles. Look at this. Look at these earthquakes here. Up at the top, always see our tremors. 1.0, 1.2, 1.3 tremors, that's all. But after 7:30 this morning, what happens? Over on the left-hand side of the blue line is 7:30. We come over here, okay? This is approximately 7:42 a.m. this morning. 7:42 a.m., we have 2.0 earthquakes. Then a minute later, we have 2.0 earthquakes that build to a 2.8 earthquake. That largest earthquake that sits tall there is a 2.8 earthquake, just below the 3.0 average. Just below the 3.0 small quake average. 2.8 minor earthquake. All the rest of this is all tremors here. Nothing but tremors here. Marina del Rey, Playa del Rey, along the coastline. Now, Marina del Rey and Playa del Rey, guys, is where multi-million-dollar homes are. Multi-million-dollar homes with marinas here. Boats and yachts sit out in the harbor here. Yes, we've seen minor earthquakes hit here before. They're going to continue to hit here. This is just an example of what can happen here in Marina del Rey and Playa del Rey. Okay, now let's look at Los Angeles County here all over. Let's study what's happening here. You're going to want to know. Let's go over to Long Beach. Let's go over to Long Beach. Look at this. This is what they call light hype. Look what's happening here. Longer earthquakes you see at the top are after 5 a.m. this morning. 2.0 earthquakes. On the right-hand side, that is 5:13 and 5:14 a.m. this morning. Those are 2.4, 2.5 minor earthquakes. Throughout this seismogram, you see these longer lines. That's what they are. 2.0 to 2.8 earthquakes. 2.0, 2.8 earthquakes here in Long Beach, California, all day long. All day long. I pulled this seismogram just after 12:15 this morning, Pacific time. Okay, it's continuing, it doesn't stop. This happens every day. South of Playa del Rey and Laguna. This is what's happening here along the harbor area. You see minor tremors and microquakes here. And this over here on this blue line is after 9:30. 9:30 on the left. This is 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9:36 a.m. this morning. 1.9 tremor here. 9:36, 9, actually 9, let me see this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9:36 this morning. Minor earthquake. 2.1 point, I would say this is probably 1.9, 2.0 earthquake. You see tremors all over the place here. Tremors are common here. Tremors are very common. Tremors are not going to stop. Minor earthquakes are not going to stop either. This whole place is moving. The whole area is moving, guys. Okay? If you think nothing's going to happen in Los Angeles, you need to take a look at it again. Yes, we have a lot of EMA family members here in the LA area. That's why we're talking about it. We have friends, we have relatives all over LA, all over San Diego County, even down into the Imperial Valley. And I'm going to show you some good sized earthquakes in the Imperial Valley in just a minute. But Los Angeles is moving. It's going to get worse. It's going to get a lot worse. Okay? It's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Okay? I showed you Ellis, I showed you Fontana, I've shown you Hollywood, I've shown you Long Beach. Let's go over and look at the downtown area of Los Angeles at the Emergency Operations Center in the basement of that big, tall, I believe it's a 22-story building in downtown LA. This is a seismogram from the political building of Los Angeles. Nothing but tremors here. These are not even minor microquakes. These are all tremors. 1.0, 1.3 tremors here all day long. Now, what I believe is happening here is that they are disguising these as tremors. I have actually seen minor earthquakes here. 2.0, 2.5, 2.6, 2.7 minor earthquakes here in downtown Los Angeles. I think they're keeping them from the public. They're probably happening, but I think they're keeping them from the public. Again, they don't want people to see what's actually going on. Okay, that's downtown Los Angeles. Let's go over out to Mira Loma. I showed you Fontana a few minutes ago, just west of the San Andreas Fault. Mare Loma is just west of Loma Linda. Loma Linda is just west of Fontana. What are we seeing here in Mare Loma? We've seen minor earthquakes and we've seen small earthquakes just a couple weeks ago here in Mare Loma. All we're seeing here are minor tremors. That's all we see here in Mare Loma. Now again, I think they might be erasing or deleting the other earthquakes. I think we may be having some minor earthquakes here in Mare Loma all over the place. I think they may be taking them down again here. There's so much going on, I think they are lying to the public, making sure the public doesn't see it. Again, this is a very highly populated area. Just north of Mare Loma, we have the Loma Linda Medical Center, world-renowned medical center in Loma Linda. They don't want anybody to see what's going on here, and forbid, because they will be losing money from patients at the medical center. Again, let's go north of Los Angeles over to Moore Park. Look at this. Now, there are minor earthquakes and there are tremors happening here in Moore Park. You can see here 2.5, 2.7, 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes. I do not believe we have a 3.0 small earthquake. I believe every one of these are minor earthquakes. Every one of these longer vertical lines here are minor earthquakes, every one of them. Every one of them. Moore Park is seismically active. Yes, we've seen 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes here in Moore Park before. Again, they may be hiding them. Because even last week we had 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes here in Moore Park before. This is just north of Los Angeles. A lot of people live here. A lot of people live here. Probably thousands of people live here in Moore Park. Let's keep going here. Okay. I want to show you Mount Wilson. We had some minor tremors over here at Mount Wilson last week, and that's what we're seeing here. Nothing but tremors and microquakes here at Mount Wilson. Mount Wilson is a tall, probably 890-foot mountain in Los Angeles. They have radio repeaters and TV repeaters, television station antennas on top of Mount Wilson. All over the place. All we're showing here are minor tremors here. Nothing more Mount Wilson. Let's go to North Los Angeles again to Part E. Look at this. Like I said, Los Angeles is very active. Los Angeles is very, very active. For the most part, all you've seen here are tremors and minor earthquakes, except for one small earthquake. One small earthquake. Look down here on the red line at the bottom left-hand side. This earthquake happened just after 11:16 a.m. This is a 3.0 earthquake. A small 3.0 earthquake hit here in Part E, California. You don't see this on the USGS map, do you? They don't want to see it. The largest earthquake they have is over in Ontario, California. We showed that to you a few minutes ago. But here in Part E, we have a 3.0 earthquake here just before noon this morning. Just before noon this morning. Okay? Earthquakes are happening all over Los Angeles, right? Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Let's go over to Pasadena. Pasadena, California. Look here, guys. All you see here are tremors. These are nothing but tremors here in Pasadena. Now, usually we don't even see this. This is the first time, well, not the first. We just about a year ago, we had some 3.4, 4.0, even 5.0 earthquake just north of Pasadena. Now all we are seeing are minor tremors here. This is a seismograph, or this is a seismogram coming from the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena. 3 minor earthquakes here. 1.6, 1.7 tremors here. That's it. That's it here in Pasadena. It's still moving. Pasadena is still moving. Huntington Park is still moving. They don't want us to know about it. Heaven forbid. Let's show you, let me say I show you that. Let's go over to another part of Los Angeles on the north side of LA to Rancho Palos Verdes. Rancho Palos Verdes burned. Before it burned, it had flooding going on. It had landslides going on. Guess what we have here? We have some tremors and we have 1 minor earthquake. 1 minor earthquake. The minor earthquake here happened after 10:18 this morning on the red line over here on the left-hand side. Okay? That is approximately 2.5 earthquake. 2.5 earthquake. All the rest of these indications here are tremors. Minor tremors here. Rancho Palos Verdes, Los Angeles. All right. Let me see if we got Los Angeles covered. About 3 or 4 more slides from Los Angeles. Then we'll go down to San Diego, and then we will go down to the Imperial Valley on the east side of San Diego County. This is Rinaldi in Los Angeles. Rinaldi in Los Angeles usually have minor earthquakes here. All we are seeing here in Rinaldi are tremors. Minor tremors here. There are no minor earthquakes at all. Okay? Rinaldi, California. Let's keep going here. Rio Hondo. Look at this. Nothing but minor tremors here as well. Yes, we've had minor earthquakes here, 2.0, 2.8, 2.9 minor earthquakes here before. Just tremors here in Rio Hondo. It's busy. You can see it's busy. Extremely busy. There's just barely white between the lines here. That's how busy it is. Yes, tremors caused by seismic signals here in Los Angeles. Seismic signals caused by earthquakes beneath the surface. Okay. I want to show you Santa Monica. Santa Monica here. These are 1.2, 1.3 tremors here in Santa Monica. This is a municipal airport in Santa Monica. Just tremors here in Santa Monica. Now I want to take you over to Santiago Peak. Santiago Peak is about 1,000 feet off the ground. 1,000 feet off the sea level. Again, radio and television repeaters up on top of this mountain. Look what's happening. Not much. This is just tremor activity. I believe at the very top here, all we have seen are microquakes, and then we get into nothing but tremors here. 1.0, 1.1, 1.2 tremors here. That's all. All right. Our next stop is over in Anaheim, California. This is where Disneyland and Knott's Berry Park are. Look at this. Last week and the week before, we have small earthquakes, 3.0 earthquakes and minor earthquakes here. Today, we have tremors and minor earthquakes. We don't even have a 3.0 earthquake. All we have here are tremors, 2.0, 2.3, 2.5, 2.7 minor earthquakes. That's all. That's all. I don't think Disneyland or Knott's Berry Park are going to stop any rides today unless they did this afternoon. I pulled this seismogram just before I came on the air. and it shows here at just after 12:30. I pulled this here at 3:30 Eastern Time today. Okay, Anaheim, California. All right, we're almost done here. There's two more places here in LA that I want to show you here. One is Walnut La Puente. Look at Walnut La Puente. Here in Walnut La Puente in Los Angeles, we have a volcano. Walnut La Puente was built on top of a volcanic caldera. There was a point in time where nothing was going on here in Walnut La Puente area. As I've told you before, every one of the volcanoes around the world are recharging. All of the volcanoes around the world are recharging, and it goes to show you what is going on here at Walnut La Puente. There is a volcano beneath the surface here. That is why we're seeing 3.0, 3.5, and 4.0 earthquakes happening here in Walnut La Puente. That's why. It's not the San Andreas Fault. Yes, the San Andreas Fault is just east of here. This is a volcano over here in East Los Angeles. That's why we're seeing these large earthquakes here. No, they're not devastating earthquakes. These are small and moderate earthquakes here happening in Walnut La Puente, California. The cities were built on top of a volcano. The cities were built on top of a volcano, and that's why we see this here. This happens every day, all day long. Yes, they feel shaking. Their computers shake. When you go to a service facility with your vehicles, their computer facilities that they have in their mechanics shops are shaking all the time, literally all the time. Any questions about Walnut La Puente? Demon Catman, you're funny. Demon Catman says roasted walnut getting rocked. Yeah, pretty much. Yes, it's hot in Los Angeles, guys. East Los Angeles probably has temperatures in the 80s today. So they're roasting. Renee Steffi's putting up a flood warning. Chatham, North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, Wake, North Carolina, flooding caused by excessive rainfall. Yes, we've had some rain where I live now in the Western Mountains. Yes, it is raining here, but not that heavy. Light rain here. But along the coast is a different story. They're getting hammered here. Renee Steffi is saying National Weather Service out of Newport, Morehead City, North Carolina, for Duplin, North Carolina. Jones, North Carolina. Lenore, North Carolina, which is just north and east of me. Lenore, California is getting flash flood warnings. Unreal. Unreal. The Catawba River up in Lenore is getting nailed. Onslow, North Carolina as well. Renee, thank you for that information. I will pass it on to people that are in my area. I have friends that live over in Lenore. I have friends that travel there for business. They travel for work as well. I'll pass that information on to them. Demon Catman says, hello, the right stuff. Well, I'm hoping the right stuff is watching this program. Oh, I'm hoping the right stuff is watching this program. The right stuff is a good guy. There he is. He's here. Right stuff, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Appreciate you a lot. My buddy Don Patoga's here. Don, I love you, brother. Don knows that. Don and I are very good friends. We're very close. Thank you for being here, Don. We appreciate you so much. He says, because you miss all the fun. Yeah, true story. Yes, right stuff. I appreciate you here. God bless you. Okay, let's go down to San Diego now. Okay, I've shown you up in northern Los Angeles. I've shown you what's happening north of there, up in the Coastal Volcanic Field. I've shown you out in the East LA area along the San Andreas Fault. Let's go to San Diego City. Let's go to San Diego County, actually, not San Diego City, because basically nothing is happening in San Diego City. Just a little bit, just a wee little bit. Let's go to North San Diego County. Let's go to the former San Onofre nuclear power plant. They decommissioned the power plant about 10 or 15 years ago. This is what's going on at San Onofre. Nothing but microquakes and tiny tremors. Microquakes and tiny tremors at San Onofre nuclear power plant. That's all. That's all. Now, let us go south. I want to go into San Diego City. This is just north of downtown San Diego. This is Mission Valley, San Diego City. This is a seismograph coming from the San Diego Gas and Electric Company in Mission Valley. Look here. Yes, we're seeing some microquakes here. We're seeing some minor earthquakes and tremors here, but we're seeing one 3.0 earthquake here. One 3.0 earthquake that happened just after 9:01 a.m. this morning. You see it over here in the center left side of your seismograph. The center left side of your screen here. 9:01 this morning, we had a 3.0 earthquake in San Diego City. It was recorded by the San Diego Gas and Electric seismograph in Mission Valley. This is on the Rose Canyon Fault. The Rose Canyon Fault coming out of Los Angeles at the Newport Inglewood Fault, just offshore from Los Angeles. All the rest of this is all tremor activity. Tremor activity and minor tremors. That's it. That's it here. That's San Diego City. Let's go out into San Diego County now. Good old San Diego County. This is where I used to live, guys. I used to live in San Diego. In fact, I just lived east of Mission Valley where you see this diagram here. I used to live in what they call Kensington of San Diego. Okay? Now let's go over to South San Diego County right here. Look at this. This is Campo Elementary School. This is in southeast San Diego County. Campo Elementary is down south by the border, just north of the Mexican border here. All you're seeing here are minor tremors. Minor tremors, but there is one minor earthquake here. One minor earthquake that happened here after 12:15 this afternoon. Over here, actually after 1300, which is 1 o'clock. On this red line, this is 1:15. So go to 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Gosh, 1:21 this afternoon, we have a 2.2 earthquake. 2.2 minor earthquake. 1:21 this afternoon. Campo, California. Campo Elementary School here. Southeast San Diego County. No, they have buses that go out here, school buses that frequent this area. No real bus routes at all, except maybe a Greyhound bus lives leaves here once a day. I think they may have Greyhound service here once a day here in Campo, California. It's a very rural part of San Diego County. One more here in South San Diego. Okay, that seismogram I just got through showing you was yesterday. This seismogram is today. That seismogram was yesterday. This is today. Look at this. Tremors all over the place. I don't think we have even a minor earthquake here today. Nothing. It's very busy. Yes, there are minor earthquakes happening every day here. All day long here. Minor tremors here. That's it. That's it. Occasionally you have a minor earthquake here, but that's all. Okay? If we have any other minor earthquakes or larger, it's because an earthquake struck in the general area, south or north of this area. This is southeast San Diego County. Very, very rural cowboy area. A bunch of Hispanic people and cowboys live in Campo. That's all. That's all. Let's go east to Imperial Valley. Juanito, our EMA family member, lives in El Centro. Let's go over to El Centro. I want to show you El Centro. Look at this. This is what we're talking about. We've shown you 3.0 earthquakes every day here for weeks and months. This has been going on for almost a year now. These small earthquakes have been going on for at least a year now. 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes all day long. I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, maybe 20, 21, 3.0 plus earthquakes here. Didn't used to be this way. Used to be in El Centro, all we would have would be tremors and minor earthquakes. About a year ago, things changed. Things changed. We have earthquakes here now. Why? I think most of the time, and it's not showing here on this seismogram necessarily, but you see these connected earthquakes here? See these connected wavy lines here between earthquakes? That's magma beneath the surface. That's magma beneath the surface. Yes, there is a fault line here, but there is magma also coursing over to the Salton Butte volcano. The Salton Butte volcano. Coming out of San Diego, going all the way across, through the ground, through the crust that we walk on, all the way over here. The southern side of the Salton Sea, we have a volcano called the Salton Butte volcano. I believe some of these earthquakes are due to the magma down beneath the surface coming over the Salton Butte volcano. Yes, the Salton Butte volcano is active. They say the Salton Butte volcano could blow at any time. The Salton Butte volcano is in the water just beneath the southern portion of the Salton Sea. But they say it could erupt at any time. Okay, that's El Centro. Juanito lives here. Juanito's here, actually. Juanito, it's so good to see you here in the chat. We love you, brother. We love you and your family. Last Christmas, Juanito and his wife sent Carol and I and our dogs some toys for our dogs. We appreciate you, Juanito. God bless you. Appreciate you a lot, very much. One of these days, maybe I'll go back and travel to San Diego, and we'll see Juanito again. He's a great man. He's a great man. We love him very much. I can't wait to see him, actually. Gosh, it's funny. It's funny. It's funny how things go. I spent a great deal of time in the Imperial Valley, guys. Spent a great deal of time. I have friends and relatives all over El Centro. I have friends and relatives over in Brawley. I have friends and relatives over in Imperial, the town of Imperial. I've got friends and relatives over in Calipatria. I have one friend and one cousin in Calipatria. I have another cousin over in Hemet. Oh gosh, Heber, California, over near the US-Mexican border. Unreal. This area is rock and rolling. This area is rock and rolling all over the place, guys. Let me go over now and show you the town of Imperial. This is Imperial here. Look at this. The town of Imperial has minor tremors. We have minor earthquakes here as well. But we also have a couple 3.0, actually 4 3.0 earthquakes. The first one here is after 7:13 a.m. this morning. Over on the upper right-hand side, third black line down on the right. That is a 3.0 earthquake there. The next one is over here on the left-hand side, just after 0800. Actually 015, 8:15. 8:15 on the red line on the left. This is about 8:16 a.m. this morning. 3.0 earthquake there. I believe we have probably a 2.9, 3.0 a minute later after that. Then the next one comes at the bottom of this seismograph here on the black line. The bottom black line is 12 noon on the left-hand side. Here we have 12:07. 12:07 p.m. this afternoon, another 3.0 earthquake here. 4 minutes later, we have a 2.8 earthquake. Over on the far right-hand side at 8:14, I'm sorry, not 8:14, 12:14 p.m. this afternoon, we have another 3.0 earthquake there. Okay? Unreal. This is in Holtville, California. I said this was in Imperial. This is Holtville, California here. Okay? This is in southeast Imperial Valley. Let me go over and find the Imperial here first. Right here. This is the town of Imperial here. Look at this. Again, here in the town of Imperial, I showed you where it was before we got on here. But here in the Imperial, this town of Imperial here, we go over on the left-hand side, we have 0600 this morning, 6 a.m. We go over here, we have about 6:10 or 6:10, 6:11 a.m. this morning. We start off with some tremors. We then graduate to 2.0 earthquake. Before it's done, here we have a 3.0 earthquake. The town of Imperial here. Yes, we have 3.0 earthquakes here all the time. Most of the time, it's just tremors and minor earthquakes. Here we have a 3.0 earthquake. We've had 3.0 earthquakes here in the town of Imperial for probably 6 to 8 months. 6 to 8 months. Things are ramping up here in the Imperial Valley. All over the Imperial Valley, you guys. One more stop. We had one other stop in Westmoreland on the southwest side of the Imperial. Actually, 2 more stops. 2 more stops before we're finished here. Okay. I told you about Brawley, California, with the minor earthquakes and tremors. Told you about that earlier. I want to now go over to a place called where is it here? Okay, over on the southwest side of the Salton Sea. This is Emory, California. Elmore Ranch, California. Elmore Ranch, California. Up at the top here, this seismograph starts at 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon. All you see is tremors here. Let's scroll up through midnight. Over on the left-hand side, you see midnight here. Right now, it's in the center of your seismograph, center of your screen here. That's midnight last night, this morning. Again, all you see are tremors here. Why do we see these thicker lines? You're seeing magma pulse signals here, where the lines get thicker and they get thinner here. That is magma going through the ground. Magma going through the ground headed for the Salton Butte volcano. Okay? Magma going through the ground, and we're seeing microquakes and tremors happening here. Okay? Let's go down here. Again, early this morning here. After 8:45 a.m. You see 8:45 over on the left-hand side? We go all the way over here almost to 8:58 this morning. 8:58 this morning, we see a 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. Highlighted in red here. The red lines were computer generated to get the seismologist's attention to say, look at this. Okay? That's a decent earthquake in Elmore's Ranch. This is on the southwest side of the Salton Sea. Just southeast of there, we used to have a seismograph sitting over in Westmoreland. USGS and Caltech, I think, just deactivated it. It might still be there, but it's not active. We're not seeing anything from there. Our next stop here is Calipatria. I showed you where Calipatria is on the southeast side of the Salton Sea in the Imperial Valley. In the past, all we've seen here in Calipatria are microquakes and tremors. Yes, we've seen some 3.0 earthquakes here before, but this happens every day. Usually here in Calipatria, guys, we've seen 3.0 earthquakes quite frequently. Yes, we've frequently seen anywhere from 75 to 150 earthquakes here every day. Every day. Now they are deleting information. They're deleting information. As you can see by this seismograph, it starts off at 1 p.m. yesterday afternoon. You see 1330 here. Actually, you see 1300. That's 1 p.m. yesterday afternoon. You see tremors. You're also seeing minor earthquakes here. The red lines are again generated by the computer. Those are minor earthquakes. Yes, the tops and the bottom of those have been cut off. You see 2.5, 2.6 earthquakes here. They may be larger. I do not think they're 3.0 earthquakes. I think they're probably 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes. Tops and bottom cut off. These other earthquakes are just minor earthquakes, 2.5. They're not cut off at all at the top and the bottom. You see tremors here as well. We've seen a lot more activity in the past. Okay, what happens after 10 p.m.? Over here at 10:30 on the left-hand side, you see 1.7 tremor. 1.7 tremor, then everything disappears. It disappears until approximately 4:30 this morning. What I think happens is after, say, 9, 10 o'clock at night, they turn the seismograph down. They turn the seismograph down where it's barely operational. That way they don't have anything to answer for. They don't have anything to answer for. As I showed you before, El Centro, the town of Imperial, down into Holtville, Brawley, you're seeing 2.0, 2.5, 2.8 earthquakes, minor earthquakes. What happens here? They turn it down, so you're not seeing it. Any tremors you see here are probably caused because there's such motion, such seismic motion caused by magma down beneath the surface that's causing earthquakes here. Causing earthquakes. And the strength of those earthquakes are causing this to show tremors. That's what I believe is happening. Because we don't see anything major at all after even 1900 hours, 7 p.m. last night. We don't see anything major again happening until after 7 a.m. this morning. 7 a.m. this morning, look what happens. This is why I'm calling a spade a spade. We've had more earthquakes here at Calipatria than now. As of about a year ago, they started not even showing any activity at all after 10 o'clock at night. Completely deleting everything, not showing tremors or anything. Now they're letting it run, but they've turned it way down. But after 7 o'clock in the morning, when the seismologist returns, goes back to work, all of a sudden we see some good earthquakes. And you see thicker lines here. Thicker lines showing magma coming into the magma chamber here in this area. thicker lines indicate more magma, the thinner lines indicate less magma. And these lines here you're seeing are earthquakes as a result of the magma here. Look at this. You see thicker lines here as well. Look at the thick lines at the bottom of this seismograph. They cut off the bottom and the top here, don't they? These are probably 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes. All we are seeing here on these earthquakes here are maybe 2.5, 2.6. That's because they cut off the bottom and the top. Heaven forbid they show us exactly what's going on. We see 3.0 earthquakes all over the Imperial Valley. Why are they not showing them here? Because they don't want any information coming out about the Salton Butte volcano. I believe they're hiding information about the volcano. That's what's going on. Don Patoka, my buddy here, put up in the chat, says you need to prepare for the worst and live for the best. Prepare for the worst and live for the best. Folks who've never fought a war have little clue what war is like or what they wish for. Yes, I've kicked the tires and approved this message. Don Patoka, I've also kicked the tires and you prepared the message. Thank you so much for that, Don. We love you, brother. Great to have you back. Guys, do you have any questions about anything going on here in Southern California? I've shown you probably close to 400 to 500 earthquakes all over Southern California today. 400 to 500 earthquakes all over Southern California today. Literally, they're everywhere. They are literally everywhere, guys. Do we have any questions? Do we have any questions? I love and care for each one of you guys. That's why I show you this. We have a lot of friends. We have a lot of family members. I have family members in San Diego County. I have cousins and relatives and friends in the Imperial Valley. I have friends and relatives, and Rob 52, who's one of my best friends also, lives in Arizona, has his own family members in Los Angeles and San Diego County. That's why we tell about this. We're trying to help each and every one of you. We want to make sure this information gets out. Rob is also putting up our email address. He's putting up our mailing address here. If you want to help us grow this channel and help us support this channel, please go over to our PayPal that Rob's putting up here. And also, at the bottom of your screen here, you see our PayPal address go through here. Go to our PayPal and help us out here. You can leave donations in our PayPal. I have not seen but one super chat here. We had a $10 super chat here earlier. We appreciate that so much. If you want to help support this channel, go over here to the bottom of the screen, and Rob52 put up the information just a minute ago in the chat. You can help support this channel by making donations to our PayPal, our super chat, or send a card or letter to us to our mailing address at 504 Bethel Road. 504 Bethel Road, Box 401, Morganton, North Carolina. Zip code here is 28655. You can stick a check, you can stick cash inside your letter. Make sure it's covered by some paper of the letter before you stick it in the envelope. And before you mail out the card, make sure your cash or check is inside that card and mail it to our mailing address. Some people do that. Last week, we received a card from someone who sent us a check. We appreciate that so much. It means a great deal to us. Thank you much for your support. Thank you very much for your love and caring. Okay, it doesn't go unnoticed. Jan's Genders here. Hi, is there a concern for weight in liquid magma under the ground? There may be some consideration for that. There may be some consideration for liquid magma under the ground. Yes, it can be very hot, and yes, it can be very heavy. Can it alter Earth's gravity? No. I do not think it can alter Earth's gravity. I'll tell you why. Magma's been down in the ground. It's been down in the core of the Earth. It's not going to alter Earth's gravity at all. It's not. Even if it erupts, it's going to be on the surface. The weight will be transferred from deep within the Earth and it'll go up to the surface. That's it. Rob 52 says, love to have one of your hats, Ron. Rob, go down into the area just below this video today. You're going to see our store here. We have hats. We have blue hats. We have white hats. It has our logo on it. Has this exact same logo on that hat. Okay? Go to our store here on YouTube and you can pick up one of our hats. I think it's like $14 or $15. I think the trucker's hat is about $19.95. They're decent. I love these hats. I've got two of them myself. I've got 2 t-shirts here. I'm going to get a polar shirt here with our EMA emblem on it as well. That will be also here in the YouTube store here below our video here shortly. Okay? Thank you for noticing, Rob. God bless you. That's one of the reasons we've been wearing a hat. And the other reason is I can't do anything with my hair. I need a haircut. Do we have any questions about anything we told you today? Now, as Don Patoga says, we vet information. When vetting the information, separate what is known fact from what you might not even think is even fiction. Vet it vigorously. We do not put out any information on this channel until we vetted it. It must be proven accurate. The information we put on this channel is proven accurate before it goes out on our air. Renee Seppy is giving us another flood advisory for Raleigh, North Carolina, Wayne, North Carolina, flooding caused by excessive rainfall. The coastal areas on the East Coast are getting more rainfall than we're getting inland. That may change as we get into the end of August and September, then we get heavier rainfall. Yes, we've got heavier rainfall this month than last month. Last month it was gotten very hot, and towards the end of the month we had 100-degree temperatures. That's what it turned out just before the beginning of August. 100, 105, 106-degree temperatures. Now it's cooled down. I think we had 71 degrees outside when I went up earlier this morning. Renee Seppy said a flood warning. Flood warning issued out of the National Weather Service from Raleigh, North Carolina, for Franklin, North Carolina, Nash, Carolina. Flooding caused by excessive rainfall. Not surprising. Not surprising at all. Guys, we've been here a lot longer than I even imagined we'd be here. But I wanted to get this information out about Southern California. I thought it was important. I'm going to the first epistle of John. At the end of our programs, we always leave you with a devotional. I'm going to the first epistle of John. I'm starting in verse 3, and I'm probably going to go through verse 10. Okay? In verse 3, John's saying, that which we have seen and heard declare we unto you, that ye may also have fellowship with us. And truly our fellowship is with the Father and with the Son, Jesus Christ. And these things write we unto you all, that your joy may be full. This then is a message which we have heard of him, and declare unto you that God is light, and in him is no darkness at all. If we say that we have fellowship with him and walk in darkness, we lie and we do not the truth. But if we walk in the light, as he is in the light, we have fellowship one with another. And the blood of Jesus Christ, his Son, cleanses us from all sin. And if we say we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. If we confess our sins, he that is faithful and just to forgive our sins. Jesus Christ will judge us When we leave this life and go back to heaven, we will be judged for what we did here on this earth. Before we came here, we lived with our Father in heaven and Jesus Christ. We were told about the plan of salvation, that Christ himself would come to this earth, and he would die for our sins. He would atone for our sins, and he would be resurrected shortly after, which he did. That provides us with also the hope of resurrection. After the resurrection of the dead, there will be a judgment. We will be judged for the sins we committed here on this earth. But if we repent, our sins will be cleansed and will be blotted out. But if we don't repent, our sins will be as crimson as red. They'll be as crimson as red. We have the chance to repent while we're here. And in verse 10, remember this. If we say that we have not sinned, then we make him a liar, and his word is not in us. Brothers and sisters, it's been a pleasure to be with you here today. I've given you all the information you need to know about Southern California. Yes, there's going to be a major earthquake in Southern California on the San Andreas Fault. It's coming. I don't think it's far away. All of you in Southern California need to be prepared. You need to shore up your homes. You need to make sure they're earthquake resistant. If they're not earthquake resistant, you need to make plans to make sure that you are prepared to deal with whatever happens, to save your families, to make sure you save your lives. That's why we give you this information. I have blessed you with a word from the scriptures. Make sure we tell the truth. Make sure that whatever we do is vetted. Make sure everything we do is vetted, and we will be blessed for doing so. Christ wants to bless us. Our Heavenly Father wants to bless us. We can do that. We can do that. Brothers and sisters, I know the gospel of Jesus Christ is true. Everything I told you here, I've shown proof of. I love you. I care for you. I care for you and your families. I care for all your friends, or I would not even be here. I made up my mind a long time ago, when I first started this over 6.5 years ago, that I'd be here for all of you. And I promise you I'm going to be here. I ask God to bless you. I ask God to be with you this day and always. May God bless you that you may have his blessings always to be with you. If any of you are sick or afflicted, if your families need help, let's remember all of your family's members and your friends in prayer. God be with you this day and always. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. We will come back on the air if need be tonight or in the morning if something major happens. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow evening talking about the Pacific Northwest earthquakes and volcanoes. Same time, same station, tomorrow evening after 4 o'clock. God bless you. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side.